we are live. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Welcome back to POV. And as you can see, it is a party. It is not just the regular four, but we have two extra guest hosts with us today. We got Mr. Frank Janish and Mr. Chris Adams. What's up, guys?
Silence, love it.
Don't jump all
I
at
was
once.
waiting for Chris. I was being polite. I was waiting for Chris to go. He didn't fill the void.
Good
He couldn't
start,
feel
guys.
it.
Good
So
start,
now
good start.
here we are, awkward silence.
I'm sorry, you
Sorry.
mentioned your name first, Frank. I was giving honor to the numbers.
Don't do that.
I'm glad to be here, guys.
Cop out. That's
Woo!
a cop out.
Glad to be here.
Wonderful start. It's going good. It's going great. It's going great, guys.
I'm cold. Sorry.
We're professionals.
Very true. Very true. We try to keep it as professional as possible. That is true. Molly, Jill, Brian, how are you guys doing?
I'm drinking.
Me too.
Brian?
What a surprise!
I'm good. It's been like cold and rainy here, but been watching the Star Wars like a good little studier.
Like a good little drafted Star Wars player does.
And you officially have a faction to study for.
Yes.
Yes.
A dungeoness.
She's a dungeoness.
A dungeoness, which I learned after posting that on Instagram that is the name of a crab. So
Huh.
Yeah.
Dungeon
Very
is
delicious.
crab. It is a very
Yep.
delicious crab.
It is quite delicious.
Molly the crab Damon. Just enter all your matches like this.
yeah. Yeah, Dungeon Master. Ooh, I like that.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Molly the Dungeon Master Damon.
that's cute. That's cute.
Although I feel like they should really tell me if they're planning on trading me because I already bought dungeon merch, so they can't trade me.
They're not going to
after
trade
that.
you. They're not trading you.
They're not allowed.
Be like, I want a refund for these hoodies.
That means it's true. Frank said it. That means it's true.
Yeah, that's right.
Coming straight from Numbers himself.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
facts.
Well, everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much for hanging out and joining us here on a Sunday evening. We obviously have a lot to talk about, and we have a lot of people to talk to about it. Not just Frank and Chris, but we have guests throughout the night as well. And so they're going to be popping in and out for the next hour or so. I know that you guys saw that all over social media, but we have Paige Forbetti and Frank Alvarez from The Usual Suspects who are going to be joining us. And then we have Jader Paramo and Thomas Harper from The Den, Robert Parker from The Dungeon, and also a little bit of a late ad. We have Mr. Khan, Mr. King Khan
King
from
Khan.
Fox Exchange is going to be joining us as well at 7:15.
Khan.
A little bit of a late ad, and so we'll be checking that out in about an hour or so. Before we get to our guest, initial reactions to the draft. I want to hear everybody's thoughts. Just quick summarization of your thoughts of what went down on Friday evening. I'll just go down the row.
Go.
Brian, what did you think?
I mean, everyone that we were watching with was audibly screaming, "What the fuck is going on?" Literally the whole entire night. So, yeah, that's and you know what? I had to say the actual F word because that's literally what was going on. Just what?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the ball went a rolling and it did not stop. So, yeah, it was wild.
Jill?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was gonna say my brief synopsis was a lot of what the fuck. What the fuck is
Now
happening?
everybody has to say that because the first two have said that.
No, everyone go down the row. Not that I didn't enjoy it because I did, but lots of what the fucks were happening.
There's a lot of surprise moments. Just a lot of
Yes,
surprise moments.
yes.
Mr. Adams, what about you?
Here's the thing. I was trying to keep up on Twitter, and that was just nuts to try to do. No, that entire draft was just wild. It was insane, and I don't know. I think a lot of people hold this opinion. I can't believe so many rookies just win as soon as they did, and they were just kind of be thrown all over the place. And I'm sure we can break down, or we will break down some other parts. But what is Dagnino doing? What's Dagnino doing?
There's always a method. There's a method to his madness.
There's at least madness.
Yeah.
Molly, what about you?
I was surprised, I guess maybe not as much as others, because I wasn't like really I didn't really know what to expect exactly, and I was like spending the whole time like, where am I gonna end up? I don't what's happening. I don't know. And like the places where I thought I was gonna end up came and went.
Multiple times.
Multiple times, and I was like, okay, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Gulp. As I
Lots of drinking happened on our Zoom call. Lots of beverages were consumed.
Within just the first round or two.
Yeah. I'm also surprised at all the rookies that got taken, especially like super early on. I was like, wow.
2 of the first 3.
Yeah.
The first 3 were rooks, which good for them. That's
Yeah.
freaking rad. Coming in as a rookie as a 2 or 3rd draft round pick, that's straight fire. But
And then when Kaiser said my name, I just started to hear circus music playing in my head because I was like, what is happening? I'm in the dungeon? Oh, crap.
Dungeon
But yeah, it was a good time.
Mr. Numbers, what about you?
You know, I was the Amaru Moses one. You know, Thomas Harper going 2 and 3 didn't surprise me too much, and a lot of the rookies that went, it didn't surprise me that rookies were going. I was kind of surprised in the first round. I thought we would get out of the first round and then the rookies would go. But besides that, I think one of the main stories is Dagnino and Barbarian, moneyballing this whole thing on nothing but rookies.
Yeah.
Was every single pick. It was funny because every single pick, it seemed like Ellis and Brad were like, who are these people? I barely knew who they were. And some of them I didn't, or I just had vague, information on. So it was very, very weird, interesting to see where managers were putting their priorities and seeing what type of risks they were taking with their picks. It was a lot of fun to witness and kind of get a feel for, I think, perhaps what's really the future of the Schmoedown in the next year or two, with the way these players were picked.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that we expected a little bit of a turnover in this year with the amount of rookies that were being pushed and with the amount of rookies that were on the draft list, but it was like a full-on turnover. It was like it's like officially here, not just in the making for the next few years. It's like officially here, and so it's very exciting. It's going to be an interesting year, that is for sure, because there's a lot of new names, a lot of new faces, and we might as well get to 2 of them that are included in that bunch. 2 members who are officially drafted by Sam Levine and the usual suspects, and that is Paige for Betty and Frank Alvarez.
Whoop,
What's up, guys?
Good evening.
Welcome back,
Hey,
y'all.
guys.
Welcome back. Congratulations.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to the Schmoedown.
Thank you.
Officially.
Ooh, thank you guys.
Well, I haven't been bullied yet, so not yet officially.
Cheers,
Frank-
guys.
Wow.
Frank's here, so
Frank's here, so Frank can help with that. Frank, bully them. Go.
You guys suck.
There you go. Welcome to the Schmoedown.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna be.
Well, so I got to ask, because we obviously had you guys on a few weeks ago when we did our rookie thing, and obviously big congratulations on officially being picked up and everything. But I want to ask, all these reactions are coming out of people being drafted, and they're posting their video stuff. But just from an internal perspective, what was it like to officially hear your name come across that draft board, and specifically from Sam Levine? Paige, I'll start with you.
Can I swear?
Yes.
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to keep the F-bomb going. It was fucking insane. I had no idea. Honestly, I was just praying to get picked up by anyone. Like, it's always been a dream to be part of the Schmoedown. So when Sam said my name, I was in utter shock, and I'm still baffled and still in shock. But it's just like such an amazing feeling. My reaction was so real because I literally was like jumping up and down like this this is a dream right now. This is not like happening. And then like I was like on social media after I was like, everything is changing right now. This is real life. Like it's been a crazy journey and I'm so excited.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so freaking cool. Yeah, when they called you, I was like, yes. Yes. Get that girl in there. Damn right.
Mr. Alvarez, what about you, man?
Well, I was very caught off guard. You know, Paige and I, we were on, you know, Let's Get Ready last night. We both kind of had the same reaction as, you know.
I know. Ooh. Oh no, Frank.
No, we had heard from a couple factions. You know, am I there? Am I breaking up?
Yep, you're back.
Good,
You're back. You're back.
now.
Okay. Good. I've been battling my Wi-Fi for the better half of a week,
no.
so if it goes out, I'll join back in on another computer. But we had
Oh, there. Oh.
Oh no.
heard from other
Oh,
factions,
no.
but the suspects not being. Oh shit.
You're
No,
good.
you're good
You're
now.
All right, hold on, I'll
Are
be
you-
right back, guys.
Are you sure?
I
you
know.
weren't
I'm so
drafted by the
sorry.
Mercs? Are you sure you're not on the Mercs?
Yeah, with this connection, I've got McCoy's connection. That's for sure.
You can hop off and come back on. We'll be here. Do whatever you got to do, man.
That reminded
know.
me so much of. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
No, you're good. You're good. Come back.
That reminded me so much of that scene from Superbad where he's got the bad phone connection just because we just watched it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Man.
Can I just talk about, Paige, what you're drinking? I haven't seen one of those since like elementary school, and they're
Oh my
the
god! With
I
like
didn't know you could still buy those.
best. The same. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I
Oh,
save these because I like chew on them afterwards. So I'm
Oh my god, I love it. I love it.
Kool-Aid
Well,
for life.
While Paige is here, let's get into this because there's obviously 11 other members a part of the suspects, and let's kind of dive into it a little bit because, and I'll throw the graphic up that way we can see the official roster for the suspects. It started off with the free agents of Drew McWeeny and Liz Shannon Miller and Ethan Irwin, and then he drafted number 2 overall Amaru Moses, the IG up and comer that everybody's been talking about, followed by the Dragon Con player, Star Wars player Marie Wilson, with Stacey Howard, Jacob Whitman, actor Paul Walter Hauser, Frankie and Paige, and then Star Wars competitor Nikki DeMonta and Doug Benson to finish out his draft. I mean, in my opinion, I felt like Sam did a really good job drafting.
Me too.
And
Me
it's a
too.
very overall like spread evenly throughout his team, and that's something that he very much struggled with last year.
Mhm.
And I think that he's kind of capitalizing on that. Paige, what do you think of your teammates going into 2021?
Dude, I'm a fan of every single one of them. By the way, Molly, congratulations on getting drafted. I knew you were gonna, but
Thank you.
like I'm a fan. Like Stacey Howard, I'm like, what? Like I have 2 former champions, and my manager is a former champion, and Rachel Cushing is like one of our advisors is another champion. So like it's just crazy that we're gonna have. I think us as rookies are so grateful that we're gonna be able to learn so much from all of these players. That's gonna be like such to our advantage and help us overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with the draft picks. Like I saw people like in the chats and stuff going like, oh, I don't know about his pick. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Do you see this badass freaking team that he drafted?
It's a formidable team.
It's a fire team. It's straight
Yeah.
fire is what his team is. Also, can I just mention the 5 females that are on his team? Like
Yes.
That's what I
wanna
think the
throw that
best part about it.
I want to throw that out there. He has 5 strong, badass women on his faction, and love it.
And I
Love
think
it.
that's what the Schmoedown needs. So that's why
Yes,
I'm like, oh,
yes.
this is awesome.
Yes, it's y'all. People should be watching. People should be watching the suspects. I think you guys are. You might be like the dark horse in this race. You know, like people are kind of maybe looking past you, looking at these other factions, but I've got confidence in you guys. I think you're going to surprise a lot of people.
And
I'll
I think
pause the
that's a
conversation.
big thing too.
Real
Mhm.
quick, I'll bring Frank back on because he is here. Bring him right back on.
There we go.
Yes.
Oh, new location.
Yeah, I'm
He's
so sorry, guys.
You're good.
back.
You're good.
I'm
Good.
so sorry. But
Yeah, so just to pick up, I guess, where we left off, I was very surprised. In addition to just being very surprised, though, like everyone, all the faction leaders that were coming through were giving quite they were rambling a little bit before they were giving their draft pick and fluffing it up. So when Sam came in, he's like, "I waste no time, Frankie Alvarez." I was like, I was very. And by the way, Molly, congrats to you as well.
Thank you.
But I was really, really caught off guard. But instantly, I was like, all right, time to get to work.
Yeah.
So we were kind of talking about our the overall faction in a whole with everybody around you guys. Chris, I'll shoot it to you next. What do you think about the suspects now, man?
I think I'm going to be that odd fencer. You're going to hear that from me a lot. I think pretty much all the factions are looking really, really good this year. Sam, no less than anybody else. I mean, everybody's looking great. We talk about Daniel. We'll probably again get back into that in a little bit. But as far as Sam's faction, it looks good. I am pumped for literally every single person who's been drafted on here. I want to see what these two rookies we got here are capable of, and I'm excited to kind of see what they do and maybe who they're even teamed up with or paired with, should that be a thing.
In the next couple months, hopefully.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe not anytime soon, but
at some point it will happen.
Yeah, I think something that a lot of people tend to, forget is, the game is consistently changing and the game is consistently getting more and more competitive. And, you think about it at the top, at the top of our faction, Sam is a former champion. And I don't think anyone knows the game quite as well as the people that have played it and played it well.
Yep.
So, that has to give us a bit of an advantage in some regard because, as the game continues, like people are going to get really good with their knowledge, but it's also going to become a lot of knowing exactly how to get around playing the game and being knowledgeable about the game itself, and the league itself. 100%. So I know that I can speak for Paige and I, since we were in the same position last night. We're really excited to, have such strong veterans at the top, and I don't know if it was brought up, but again, you see, we got Ethan, we got Drew coming back, we got Liz Shannon Miller, who has made a huge splash over the last 2 seasons. So I'm really excited, and I think that there's really only one way to go from here, and that's up.
There you go. Mr. Janis, what about you and the suspects? What do you think of these two and their teammates?
I liked Sam's approach to like the top half of his roster, where he went and got an Intergeekdom player and he went and got a Star Wars player because he did not have those at all, and he was put in a tough spot right off the bat with Kaiser taking Mara off the table, because I think he would have went that route. But then what he felt was like the next best available Intergeekdom player was the rookie Amaru Moses, and while it could be seen as a bit of a stretch, I think with him being so specialized in that, and then obviously there's Rachel and that whole component, I think they felt like that was a good spot to get a rookie who's hungry, wants to prove themselves, and that's also what I think he did in the back half of his draft strategy, including Paige and Frank here, bringing in rookies who want to make a splash, who don't want to, make it a one and done type of thing. So he got, I think, a few people, including Nikki as well, when I'm saying all this, that are going to want to prove something, and that's important to have when you bring in new talent into a roster, into the league, is that you'll want these people to have some fire behind them to make an impact. Because he had a little fun with the Paul Walter Hauser pick, and then he picked his buddy Doug Benson. So I get those picks as well.
There's nothing wrong with those picks. We love a good fun pick in this house.
Right.
We need it,
At the same time, he went and got some people that I think are going to go to work and make the most of their opportunity with, Frank, Page, and Nikki. So I'm pretty excited to see what the suspects will do this year compared to what happened to them last year.
Wow, you said that in front of Molly too.
I know. Jeez. Wow.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
So for me, when Sam came up, I was like, all right, We know he's a busy guy. Did he do his research like he always does and all that? And then I saw the first pick, then the second pick, and then the ball kept rolling. And I'm like, okay, he definitely knew what he wanted, looked into all the way from first to last. And I'm Marie on that team. Was there, those two for Star Wars. I was like, that's kind of a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that one, I was like, okay, because I'll be honest, like I was looking to the Star Wars people because that was a lot of who we interviewed too.
Yeah.
And when I saw her go to Sam, I was like, okay, Sam did his research with every single one of you guys on that team.
Yes.
Even Nikki, I'm like, oh, that's another good fit too. And yeah, they're the ones that I feel like you guys are definitely gonna be the ones I feel like people are like, yeah, they're gonna be good. And then I won't be surprised if you guys just knock your way higher every single time.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you guys are deadly. I feel like you guys sneakily deadly.
Well, I think something that is kind of, almost beneficial for at least myself and Paige and all the other rookies. Congratulations are in order for everyone that got drafted, especially the rookies, because I know how much this meant for people. But I think that the people that are coming in, unfortunately, in those first two, because realistically, the first two rounds are the fourth and fifth round. But even then, like the rookies that went in those rounds, there is a lot of pressure. There's no way around it. There is a lot of pressure that's coming with it. And I think we've seen the community be very, very vocal, in terms of the pressure that's now going to be placed on rookies because of the sheer number of rookies that got drafted. But in my position, and I think, Paige, we spoke about this last night, like all we can do is surprise people. All we can do is surprise people at this point. People really don't know who we are. They don't know our approach to being competitors. They don't know our approach to, at strategizing in any regard. So the worst thing that happens is, we go 1-2, we go 0-3, but the fact of the matter is that for us and for the suspects in a way, the only way to go is up. We've seen how bad it can be. No offense to anybody, obviously. It can, when there's the lack of strategy, how difficult it could be. So I really do think that we're coming in with an advantage because there's not a lot of expectations on us.
That's our secret weapon right now, guys.
I know.
No one knows what to expect from us. So that's why we go out there with the ball and just surprise everyone. So I think everyone's going to walk out and see what happens.
Exactly. And that's what makes me so excited for you guys. And all the rookies in general, too, is like, unless really if you're in the fan leagues and we have some kind of like video of you, like some of y'all are coming in here where we're just completely blind as to what you can do. And so I think we're going to see a lot of surprises this season. This season's going to be quite the interesting season. I think it's gonna be a war. That's for damn sure. It's definitely gonna be a war.
I do want to ask, and I now that the teams are officially filled, and nothing has officially happened yet, but is there someone in your faction, or maybe a couple, that you're really interested in, like, studying with or learning from, as far as the game of Schmoedown, or any kind of habits that they may have for themselves that they've been using that you can kind of pick up on?
You want to go first?
Why don't you go ahead?
I mean, honestly, I'm excited to hear and learn from everyone. Honestly, for me, like my two favorite players, like watching, were always Rachel and Clark. So like I'm extremely excited to learn and like speak to her and just be like, give me all your knowledge, like give me your secrets, like let me know everything. Like so, like those are my biggest things. Like, and honestly, like I mean, I'm going for singles and teams, so I would be honored to be partnered up with anyone. I know last night when we were on the show, someone was like, "Oh, you and Frankie should team up and be called the pranksters," and I was like, "Ooh, that's like really cool. I like that." But like honestly, I'd be so honored to be like with anyone. I'm so excited to learn from everyone. Like we do former champions too, with Ethan and Drew. So I'm just like, I just want to know all their like knowledge and the secrets. Make it the best way as possible in a sense. So.
And I think from what I've gathered, at least, from being both a fan and kind of on this end of things now, is there are so many different personalities and approaches to the game already on our faction. You know, a little bit more of a casual, laid back player like Ethan, who has expressed that he's, you know, his interest in movies is just watching movies, and that's kind of where he's gotten, and he's absorbed that knowledge. So there are different people in different, you know, ways that we're going to be able to kind of pick up and help each other and stuff like that. And I think that's something that's going to be, you know, a benefit too, because listen, some people can't. You're all right over there?
Yeah, sorry.
She's
I
cut off.
notice how none of the other crew like
cut off.
batted an eye because this is just probably normal.
It's just normal.
They
It's
just,
just normal
you know,
Sunday.
they're like, oh yeah, that's just.
So a little behind the scenes, I literally have like a TV tray set up in my bedroom, and this is my setup. So if I move my hand in the wrong way, it's just smack. And
This is the point when Sean comes in and takes the drink away from us.
no.
No, but just to wrap up, like, you know, I think that there are so many different approaches to the game on our faction, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they mesh and meld together. And you know, my way might benefit Paige, it might benefit somebody else, and you know, like I think it's going to work together really well.
I love it. I'm so. Oh, here he comes. No, don't take it. No, I'm fine.
I will say something I've noticed over the last 2 nights is how many people have this.
I do. I have mine. Hold on, mine's right.
It's right back behind you.
Yeah, it's right.
That's a different one.
That's a different one. He's pointing to that one.
I have this one.
Well, there you go. There you go.
I full
And Molly
transparency.
has like 75,000 behind.
Yeah. My main one is dressed up for Valentine's Day right now.
I just noticed he has his Valentine's Day outfit on now.
The wings. Oh my god.
I love it. Yeah, new rule on POV: if you're ever a guest, please be sure you have your Grogu ready and available.
Jake, do you even have one?
No, I don't.
Jake's not. Jake can't host POV anymore. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Give it the times, Jake. Give it the times.
Jake.
All right. Well, before we let Paige and Frank go, does anybody else have anything else they'd like to add or ask them before we let them head out?
Yeah, real quick. I'm just curious on. I know it's still like a couple days after the draft. What's the communication, if there's been any, in terms of with other faction members or Sam himself?
Yeah, so Sam actually reached out to us today, so we're gonna get a Zoom meeting going this week, which will be nice. Get to meet and chat. Everyone, I think, will be really exciting and stuff. So I'm a huge fan, like a Freaks and Geeks fan. So I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, oh my god! Like,
sounds like Paige is just gonna be fanning out for the next couple of
I
days
know.
until it settles in. Yeah,
It's gonna fangirl
that's
for
great.
a
Though.
while.
No, that's great.
Yeah, I know. Like I've made, I've reached out to Amaru, I've reached out to Paige, and you know, we've been kind of communicating, you know, at least getting to know each other, chatting each other up a little bit, and then, you know, seeing where we go from there. I think our first meeting is soon. I won't give away too much,
because we're gonna sneak in.
There's a wolf. Well, there's a wolf in the hen
Frank
house.
might.
I don't know if you guys know this. There's a wolf in the hen house there.
There's a wolf in the hen house.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's been, you know, but we also got to understand they're super busy too, which I'm sure.
Yes.
But I am super pumped and cannot wait.
That's
So
awesome.
excited for you too. So thrilled that you guys. Well, like I said, welcome to freaking Schmoedown. Welcome
Thank you.
officially,
to the Schmoedown.
thank you.
Welcome to Schmoedown. Like, y'all are gonna kill it this season. I have a
You're
feeling.
officially a part of the chaos.
Welcome to the chaos. Welcome to the chaos.
Let the war begin, guys.
Yeah.
Well, to both of you, thank you guys so much for hanging out for a little bit. I know it's short-lived, but now that you guys are officially a part of it, we'd love to have you get back at some point. Whenever your guys' matches do come, we look forward to it, and good luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
It really means
And
a lot.
thank you guys so much.
Of course. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Have a good night, guys.
Kick ass, y'all. You're gonna kill it. Congratulations. Whoop whoop.
They're going to be fun
Yeah.
to watch. I'll be honest.
People, and I was like, because Rachel Cushing had posted all the draft picks and the suspects. I think people are sleeping. People are sleeping on the suspects, and they're a faction that you guys should not be looking away from right now. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
I will say I
There's
do have
definitely-
one point of
Here we go.
concern. Sorry, no. One point of concern.
This is why we brought him here.
Here we go.
Because I look at this roster, and while you have very knowledgeable people in Ethan Irwin and Drew McWeeny, there's no one also on this list. I mean, besides also Stacey Howard, that has extensive time playing in the Schmoedown. Shannon Miller just really came into her own this past season under Winston, so she's gonna try and build off of what she learned with him into this new faction, and she'll be with her buddy Ethan Irwin, so that helps. But everybody else on this roster, comprised largely of rookies, inexperienced in the Schmoedown, I wonder what the more experienced players, because they're going to find themselves in a position of somewhat as mentors, along with Sam and Rachel to a degree, right? So I'm curious how other players will fill in other roles for this faction. It'll be interesting to see who steps up in those roles.
Yeah.
As a former usual suspect, I'm excited to see just the balance on their faction now compared to when I was on it. I would have loved to have had one other Star Wars person to study with, and I will say the biggest thing that I got from Sam while I was on that team was just how to play the game. He constant reminders of like, okay, well, if you're in this scenario, then this is what you might want to do, vice versa. And like during the matches, he was really, really good at just calming me down and reminding me like what to do in this scenario. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how everyone does on that team.
I think
Chris,
coming off of like Frank's point, they're talking about some of those vets there. One of the interesting things for me is that this team, some of the other factions as well, but this team feels like one of those that's kind of set up to break down the thought of the super team, like what Christian had mentioned and talked about before, where you could have your Ethan Irwin and Drew Meany kind of paired up together if you wanted to, but this is one where I think it'd be more interesting and would be more dynamic, I think, specifically for teams if you have a situation where you have one of these vets and a rookie as a team. And that's the way these rookies kind of get mentored, is they are a part of a team that contains somebody who knows, one, how the game is played, and two, just is a powerhouse at trivia. I think that would be an interesting dynamic. I don't know if that would be a winning dynamic or not for this season, but I think given the veterans that are on this faction, I think it's kind of hard to go wrong with that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point. All right, let's go ahead and shift gears here to the next faction that we're going to talk to, and to join us to talk about the Den and what Kate Mulligan had pulled off on Friday is none other than the Hurricane himself, Mr. Jader Paramo.
Yes, Jader!
Oh my
Jader
gosh.
knows.
There it is.
I'm so glad everyone has one. Yay.
How's it going, guys?
Welcome.
I knew we were friends, Jader. I knew we were friends.
Of course, dude. Of course.
Jader, I don't think I've seen you clean shaven before.
I don't think I have
today,
either.
dude.
I know. It's new. I actually shaved this morning.
Did you get a new job or something? What are you doing?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly why. I went back to school. I haven't been in school in like 13 years, guys. It's been a while, and with COVID and everything happening and everything going on, it was a babyface Jader. Yep, that's exactly it. But with everything going on, I kind of freaked out a little bit with jobs closing and so on and so forth. So I don't know, something in me decided to go back to school, so I went back for medics and firefighting.
Awesome. We talked about this. That's right. We talked about this.
Yeah. So I had to shave the beard. Unfortunately, I hate it, but it's something that I had to do. So. Well,
congratulations, man. That's kick ass. That's awesome.
Thank you. Sorry you ended up on the fraction.
Oh, I know.
Probably so nice. I love him so much. Man.
I know, Sean Sullivan. Yep, former member of the Den. This guy, he's being corrupted, y'all. I can only do so much. He's already being corrupted. I can only do so much to control him. I'm sorry. But yes, dude, the Den. Congrats.
Let me tell you, man. I am so hyped, right? there was only not too many factions reached out. I have been completely under the radar for the last couple months because of school. I hate to say it, I didn't even see Spectacular until after my finals. I didn't see anything that was going on because I was just so invested in school, and it's tough. Like, learning a completely different subject and learning something that, not that didn't say never appealed to me, but just medicine in its own, it's a whole different world. So I was just so invested. It was very, very, very expensive school for it was a 5-month program for the first part, right? And it was like $3,000. No, yeah. So it just in the middle of COVID, and I was like, I have to do this. If not, it's never gonna happen. So I was just so focused, and I had a lot of personal things going on towards the end of the year as well. No excuse, but I got some pretty shitty news the day of my Hannah match, and threw me out for a loop, right? I've said this, I think maybe in one other show, and then my personal friends and Hannah himself knew what was going on, what happened that day actually. So I didn't see that match until probably last week. I'm usually because I'm like, I couldn't go back to it. I was very disappointed with myself, and I felt like I did let Hannah down because I knew what I could bring to the team, and I felt like he carried me that day, but yeah, I'm it's crazy because now that I have a little bit more time to catch up and do it, I've been watching movies nonstop. It feels like a full-time job, like studying like crazy. But going back, a couple factions reached out, and by a couple I mean 3, right? And they all seemed really interested, and Kate was one of them. And she told me, she's like, who have you talked to, this and that and that, and I, just like every manager, was just kind of like, who have you been talking to? I need to know what's going on. What are you at the priority? Where are you at? And, I answered as honest as possible. I told her some people reached out, nothing set in stone. This was before even the free agency, right? And then she goes, I want you in the den. We're going to see if we can make this happen. I'm like, absolutely. Just like you guys said earlier on the show, as I was watching this draft, what the fuck?
It's a recurring theme.
It's a large what the fuck.
Dude, I was out with I was at a friend's house, right? And just like, he's like, hey man, let's booze up a little bit. It's your night. You're gonna have a good time. Because I'm like, I really don't know if I'm gonna get drafted or not. I didn't know that, And then seeing the when Harlock posted, hey rookies, get your names out there, and I saw your shows with all your interviews and all that, and I'm like, there's some obviously that just put their names out there. I love, Juice did, and with the the guitar, everything that they were doing. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I love all this. And I had some people tell me, you're not gonna get past the 3rd round. And then some factions that reached out, they're like, hey, we're interested, but we do have a priority list. If you fall into the 3rd round, which I doubt, we'll pick you up. And I was like, all right. They came in swinging, taking rookies left and right, where again, I was like, who are they? I'm like, damn, I'm not a manager. I didn't do my homework or anything like that, right? But as I'm looking at this, I obviously dropped to the 3rd. It sucks when people leave this kind of expectation in your head that this is where you're gonna go. So that's where I thought I was gonna go, and I obviously fell to the 4th round. It sucked, but not really, because I saw a lot of big names still on the board where I was like, what the hell is going on? Like what I mean, they must have seen something that I didn't, obviously, And when I see Kate, I thought Kate was gonna take me in the 3rd, right? Kate, I think, takes Sean.
Takes Peggy. Peggy.
Yeah.
Peggy?
Was it Peggy?
In the 3rd, yeah.
Saul was
in the
second.
3rd.
That's right. Saul was in the 2nd.
That's why we have Frank here.
Wasn't it Riley in the 3rd?
Somebody. It was.
Was it Riley?
Here, I'll throw this up.
Peggy.
Here's the team. I think it was Riley right before Peggy.
Because Harper went first. I know Harper went first.
Harper went first.
I mean, Riley was in the 2nd, but in the 3rd, what Jader was talking about was Peggy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, anywho, obviously we're fast forwarding, and then I had my friends here, obviously, because we went from his house, and then my buddy, his girlfriend came over, my girlfriend was here, and my daughter was here, and they were all like recording before anybody, just recording me, and I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to this team. It's okay. And then I don't know. I started like again, what the fuck? I'm like, but maybe I'm like again. I just wanted to get drafted. I didn't care by who. Yeah. But long story short, when Kate said my name, I was so happy because I had already seen where she was going, where she was building, and funny enough, I had seen Harper's interviews, and I was like, that guy's gonna be a killer. Now I was talking. I don't know. You guys are all friends with Mike Deacon, and Deke was. I'm very close friends with him. I talk to him pretty often, and Deke was like, Harper, if you don't know about him, this is obviously pre-draft. He's like, that guy should be going number one because he's insanely good. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right. So he's like, don't feel that bad because he was obviously talking to me during the whole draft. Whatever. She says my name. I am happy as a clam. And then seeing what the roster end up being at the end, I'm like, this is a killer squad. You know, she got so much shit for trading Marisol back to corruption, and I think she did. You know, I mean, risky move, but I think it paid off it paid off for her. Like we have a killer squad. We have a killer squad.
I mean, we talked about it when that trade happened. We said we can't judge it until we see the final roster.
Yeah.
We can't judge it until we see the final roster really did pan out. Like it really did pan out.
It did.
I do want to, before we move on to any Den talk, I do want to bring on a second member of the Den, a gentleman who's already been mentioned, and that is Mr. Harper himself.
Hey.
Hey.
What's happening? What's up, Jader? Good to see you guys again. Thank you for having me.
Just meeting for the first time.
There you go.
Den
congratulations, Thomas. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It still doesn't seem like real life, but I guess it'll settle in at some point.
Yeah.
I remember that feeling, dude. It was surreal, man. It's crazy. I would think about it when I won the event in Orlando every single day, that it became like an obsession. Like, it was like, I can't believe I'm part of this Schmoedown. Anytime now, they're gonna call, because I didn't know how it worked, to be honest with you. So Christian's like, my people call your people, and by your people, me, right? And then he was. I just didn't hear from him throughout, and then I ended up flying. I flew out to Spectacular, and I got really ill. I don't know if it was the climate change or the altitude, but I got really sick the night of Spectacular, and during Smets and Kalinowski, I felt ill that I was going downstairs, and I think I forgot who saw me. I don't know if it was PJ or somebody saw me and was like, dude, you don't look too well. Go to the side. I ended up like drinking a ton of water, and I almost flew back home because I felt so bad. But
dude.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucked. But then I spoke to Harloff, and I was like, so what's going on? Then he's like, no, we're going to have a draft. And he explained everything to me. I'm like, dude, I've been thinking about this every single day since I woke up, from October. I think it was like October 19th when I won that event till December, where every single day I was just checking in. And I'm like, I can't believe this happened. Did they mention me on SEN today? Don't forget about me. It was, I was fangirling like crazy. It was awesome. And then it's funny because you mentioned, you had these guys from the Usual Suspects, and then Molly saying I was a usual suspect. I was a usual suspect. That's why I got that as well. So when I shook Sam's hand at the, I was geeking out because I'm a big fan of Freaks and Geeks as well. So it was for real. So yeah, but
I will clarify. I would have had that reaction whether the pick ended up as it did, or if I was Kate or whoever's very last pick of the draft, like via text message or something like that. So the opportunity to have a slot on the roster, especially when you consider the folks that didn't get picked up, the known quantities, the veterans, the folks with established track records.
Justice for Warfather, man. That's
justice for Warfather.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? Like, there's no. I think if you're coming into this as a rookie, especially somebody like a non-fan leaguer myself, with I don't care what like your trivia background is generally, and you haven't won a match, you haven't gotten a single question right under the lights, and you come in with a chip on your shoulder and an attitude. Like, I think that's a dangerous sort of mixture to have. I mean, I'm all about confidence. That's fine. But, chop the wood that's in front of you is my friend.
Yeah, you can get humbled real quick, man. That's the one
For
thing
sure.
that I can tell you. I didn't come from the fan leagues. A lot of people think I did come from the fan leagues. I didn't. I was picked out of a crowd at random with a beer in my hand. I was just there to enjoy the show.
That's
and
the key.
it was honestly, I don't know if you guys heard the story before, but once Harloff announced that Orlando was going to have that fan competition, I got so hyped, but I'm such a pessimist that I was like, no way in hell out of 500 people that I'm going to get this shot. Even as obsessive with the show that I am, I'm like, I know it's not going to happen. And then my girlfriend, she was like, oh, no, of course not. You're not going to get it with that attitude. She was, don't worry. I'm going to win the ticket, and I'll just give it to you. And that is verbatim what happened.
Oh my
she
God.
ended up winning the ticket, and then she was next to me. She goes, there's your shot. Don't blow it.
Nice.
And I remember walking to the stage and like legs like jello, and I'm like, holy shit, in front of everybody. Imagine my first and then I don't know, it was it went down literally to the last question with this gentleman called Chris Jaeger.
Jaeger 1 and Jaeger 2.
Jaeger 1 and Jaeger.
Yeah.
I drank a lot of Jaeger growing up. I still drink it actually. And I know everybody hates it, dude. It's actually have a Jaeger tattoo on my hand.
Yeah.
You better get some like a check monthly for that.
You have no idea. No, it's more than a Jaeger tattoo. It's our favorite. I bartended for a very long time, and I worked with a bunch of bartenders that our names were Jays. So it was Jader, Jessica, George, John. All of us with Jays, we all worked together, and our go-to shots were Jaegers. Again, this was when we were like 21. So we decided to get this as a Friends Forever tattoo that we barely speak now. So
I will ask, I'll take over this interview briefly. If I'm assuming that was before Pacific Rim came out, but when that movie came out, did you feel like slightly more badass that you had a Jaeger?
Of course. I'm like, yeah.
Like, this is totally a Pacific Rim tattoo now.
Absolutely. No, so Chris Jaeger, man, shout out to him. I don't know if he did a tape or he sent an audition tape to Chris, because we were toe to toe. Like Nora Ephron is what saved me, to be honest with you. He didn't know a Nora Ephron question. Yeah, he didn't know a Nora Ephron question, and I ended up winning, which was such a surreal moment, because we were going just back and forth that when I answered my 5, I'm like, all right, I'm done. And I'm like, if this guy gets it, we're going to go to sudden death, because we were tied at that point. And he looks at me and I'm like, oh crap, he knows this. He knows this. And then he looks at me and he goes, enjoy your time in LA, because I have no idea. It's like, oh my God. Oh, so good. Yeah, so
wow. And now y'all are on the Den.
Now we're on the Den.
As a former Den pseudo den mother. Mama Kate, I will always and forever call her Mama Kate, is a precious peach. And can I just say, I did make a comment that I'm kind of miffed at the fact that all of the female managers are now heels.
Yes.
But Kate's heel persona, I'm kind of obsessed with.
I like it. I love it, actually. I tuned into backstage because I, again, didn't know if she was going to pick me or not. So I was paying more attention to the managers that I had already talked to me to see if there was any mentions or anything like that. She's very smart, actually, because I found out, Thomas, she didn't even speak to you. You just got drafted. Same thing with Sam. Sam didn't say a thing to me. I'd never spoken a word to Sam until that day, and I was like, how the hell does he know?
I'm gonna tell you what, I can only assume, based on how this worked out, that no managers watched my promo video or anything like that, because if they had, I wouldn't be here. They'd be like, I wouldn't even have made it on the rookie list. They'd just flush it down the toilet. So,
and Thomas, how did it feel to go as her first pick of that night? What was going through your mind with that, man?
Well, I think shock would be an understatement. In fact, I told my wife, Marissa, is like on the way out of the living room. She's like, I don't want to leave. She's going to get another drink. I don't want to leave if something's going to happen. I was like, you got like 15 minutes. Like nothing is gonna happen. Like we'll see. Like middle of the second, maybe I'll get my hopes up.
Surprise.
Like, but most likely third. You know, I literally had a draft board. I say this like half jokingly, but I had a draft board that I had made up on my own ahead of time just to play along. That got blown up immediately. Like
I think everyone's
did.
I think everyone's did.
And I sat there and I will fully confess that my knowledge of singles players and like you know, a lot of the more legendary folks and stuff is sort of a shallower pool when you get outside of IG and Star Wars. But I sat there and thought, like, am I just an idiot? And then I went online and I looked and I started to see similar comments. Yeah, and so I was like, well, that makes me feel a little bit
but if
better.
you listen to every manager that night, everyone else was an idiot.
Everyone else was an idiot.
So,
well,
I mean,
not everybody has a 10,000-page dossier. Gucci.
Exactly.
That dossier grew by 800 pages in an hour.
I'll shoot it around to some questions if anybody has any questions for the fellow Den members here. Chris, do you wanna start? Do you have anything for either Jader or Thomas?
Come back to me.
Fair.
Like me?
Frank, what about you?
No, so I don't know if you guys had heard Goddard on Rundown the night of draft, but he was talking about how, you know, he didn't want it to go the way the Den went last year and more organized, and they're going to get together and these study sessions and really have a plan to attack the year. I don't know if you guys have talked to Goddard or Kate or whoever else on the Den yet, but when you hear those types of things, or you don't hear those types of things from your talks that you may or may not have with certain managers, you know, is that something that was really a concern for you, or was it just flat out, I just want to be drafted and then whatever happens from there happens from there? Jader, I mean, when you hear like Goddard talk about those types of things, and then you relate that to your previous experience, you know, what goes through your mind when you hear that stuff?
That's verbatim what I told him, because he obviously was fishing around too. So he messaged me and said, how do you feel? What are you doing? Who's reached out? The whole nine. Obviously, I know him and Kate probably were the ones that were like setting this whole thing up. So I told him, I just want a team that I'm going to be able to study with, because I take the studying very seriously. And I'm like, and I want that back. I had that with the suspects.
I've seen those note cards.
You've seen them.
I've seen those note cards.
I have binders.
Yes, I've seen them.
Like,
I've seen them.
I take it very seriously, you know, and it's one of those things, at least for me as a rookie, where, you know, again, I got picked out of a crowd, no background in this whatsoever. I'm just a fan of the show, right? That I, again, happen just to love film. So for me, my whole thing was like, and this was obviously, you know, BC, before COVID, and when they flew me out, I was like, all right, so they're flying me all the way from Miami to LA, right? And if I don't win this match against Brittany Young, it's going to be very rare that they're going to, and again, this is before we even found out that you know, everything was going to shut down. But I'm like, I have to prove myself and, you know, win my first match to be like, all right, this kid's got something. This is 2 matches that he's won, you know, 1 in front of a crowd and one in a studio. So he needs to go in, and I just didn't want to get forgotten. You know, that was my main concern. Like, I don't want to fail. And that's why I'm as determined as I am. You know, and this is no offense to Ken, because Ken was absolutely great with me. It was really hard when I got into the Drooks, because barely anybody spoke to anybody there.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's why they don't exist anymore.
Okay, so I
certainly seemed like a hot match. Right?
Ken was the one that was actually reaching out. Do you need anything from me? But I know Ken's a busy guy. I'm not gonna be like, hey man, yeah, let's study for 2 hours and make sure that I got this. You know, Warfather was the only one that was there, and obviously Hannah after when me and him started teaming up. But other than that, no one else said anything to anybody on that team. So I missed that, because it was crazy that I was studying for my matches with different factions. You know, just friends that I made along the way that I had, you know, and I'm not afraid to say it. Craig helped me out a lot. Barbarian is one of those guys that was just there for me nonstop, you know. I've loved that man to death. You know, obviously we're going to war now, and I told him I'll see you on the end of the I'll see you at the battlefield, brother. But I obviously that man helped me a lot. Janine was actually a faction mate, but once I left, She was like, you know what? I'm still here for you. Whatever you need. This is always the rule. Unless it's against my faction, I'll help you study. Right?
Yeah.
So we have that. And so when Goddard reached out to me, that's the first thing I told him. I'm like, look, man, I can get drafted by any single team here. I don't care. I want to play, but I want to have that back. So when I know that I'm gonna go obviously play or whatever, that we're gonna have these study sessions. And again, I even told them, I'm like, I'll start looking up the most craziest Star Wars questions, because I know Star Wars, but nowhere near like the likes of you guys. And there
he is.
There he is. Hey, Goddard.
Again, I'm willing to let's break it down. Let me grab some questions and let's just throw them at you. Let's scrimmage a little bit. I'm a big guy. I love teamwork, and I didn't know coming into this league if that was even a thing, because I would always just like when I would watch a match, it'd just be me playing against whoever was playing that day, and just writing down what I didn't know and what I knew. Like I would, even before I was even in the league, I had written down questions like, hey, I don't know this, just in case it gets asked again, So yeah, that's pretty much it. Teamwork is makes the dream work.
You guys are gonna get that with the Den this season. Like I said, I'm former pseudo Den, and she is still Mama Kate to me. She's still Mama Kate. I love her to pieces. Sean does too. So
by the way, guys, look, this is coming soon. We made So we'll talk soon. I had Steph made that today, and I showed it to Harlow. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
Thomas, what about you?
I will say, so I come from a different world, and Molly sort of knows this quite well.
Yeah, where dragons exist.
Well, dragons exist. You gotta your note cards get burned up if you're not careful. But no, I come from a world where every year it's just a really solitary experience, and seeing I think Molly and Alex are probably the rarity of folks that have each other to help study for that competition. But it's a really lonely experience in some ways, where the only constant, the only thing that for sure that you need to do year in and year out is just keep up with the new material. Beyond that, there's nobody I guess you could reach out and study with other folks, but I've never done that. And so every year it's sort of been like my own private ritual. However I get prepared is how I get prepared. And that's my thing, getting up to Dragon Con. And coming into the Schmoedown, I wanted something more than that. I have that every year. I enjoyed it in its own right, but at the end of the day, you're sort of on an island until the competitions. Honestly, my favorite part of that competition is either after the qualifier quiz, when we all kind of get together and we're like, what the hell was that? What were these questions? And grab a beer, or after the finals, however it shakes out. And we missed that this year, which I miss very deeply, but doing the exact same thing, going over to the bar there in the Marriott and grabbing some drinks and stuff, and just decompressing.
It's always a Marriott bar, isn't it? It's always a Marriott bar.
It's gotta be. I should get. I'm missing my Jaeger royalties here for that endorsement. But no, I didn't want that here. I wanted something more. I was fine if that was how it was going to end up being, because that's my experience. But if you were to ask me before the draft, if you could pick your ideal team setup, it would be one where you're part of a unit. I come from a military background where everybody is rowing in the same direction, and the mantra is you train like you fight, and you fight like you train, and that's done as a group. You don't see Army units out there the 82nd Airborne isn't dropping into a drop zone and everybody goes off on their own to do their own thing, and good luck, I hope you shoot well. And it's not like that, and that's not the mentality that I'm bringing to this. And I could not be happier with the faction that I'm on, because already, I'm not going to pull back the curtain, but already pieces are coming into place that are so far the opposite from what I'm used to with Dragon Con. It's just a breath of fresh air. Honestly, it makes me excited. It sort of reinvigorates. Molly can attest to this. Dragon Con alone, it can be a grind. Even just keeping up with the material, you question yourself. You're do I want to just step aside this year and just let it go by? Just just watch. because it's just this exhausting experience that you do alone for like a paper certificate at the end of the day. But this is immediate. Like we're just 48 hours after the draft, and I'm like, this isn't going to be that experience, which is awesome.
Do you have there it is. There's the
This is mine for I think that I got runner up 2 years ago, and that's what
look,
I got.
look at Grogu. It has Grogu on it.
It has my name on it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it.
I will fully admit that those are my certificates are framed up on the wall, like everything else. It's like Star Wars posters, Star Wars art, and then these like wacky ass looking certificates that are up on the wall with like Jar Jar and Grogu. And if everything burned down in this house, I like other than this Vader statue, I would
was gonna say the Vader statue.
I would save that, and then on the way out the door, I would save those certificates. Like quick, grab them.
Go.
Well, the Dragon Con trivia is one of those things that like I don't even know how to go about telling someone how to study for that, because it can just be anything, especially
how to spell that.
Spell Thrawn's entire name, apostrophes included. But and then back when it was Legend stuff too, it was just like a crapshoot. Like, well, I
got my ass kicked repeatedly back then. I never qualified.
I
never qualified.
Which one's pretty good? That's a good comment.
Great.
Yeah, my law degree could burn. And no. Are you a lawyer? Well, I can't prove it, but I can prove that I know a little bit about Star Wars.
Right. Yeah.
Well, okay.
You're hired.
I have two questions. One is a serious question. One isn't. My serious question is, who on the Den are you most looking forward to like getting study tips with? And also, have you given Lacey your quiz yet from when you were a kid?
You mean this one?
Yeah.
It's sitting right here. So I will say Riley. I come into this competition, this league, with the humble understanding that the strategy, the in-depth knowledge of the game is a gap in my armor, and getting to sit cross-legged at the feet of somebody like that with that kind of deep knowledge, what can you say about an opportunity like that? So I can't wait for sessions, just strategy sessions. We don't have to talk Star Wars or anything. Just like, hey, here's a match. Here's what these folks were thinking. Here's why they made these moves. And here's my recommendation on how to handle it. Like, that's like, he's like the John Madden with the marker, like on the teleprompter, like chalking up the play and showing me like behind the scenes how it goes. And that's awesome. And, no, I have not given Lacey this quiz yet, but I will give everyone I don't even have all the answers, so I just have to like put on this face like I know everything and be like, oh, yeah. Well, let me check your answer here. I don't know if that's correct, but
let's see really quick.
Yeah, this is my qualifier if you want to be a friend of mine. I'm like, what did you? 27 correct? Well, we can be acquaintances, but I don't know.
Not quite there.
We'll be friends.
There's definitely been times where me and Alex will ask each other just random Star Wars trivia, but one of us will be like, wait, is that the answer? And then we'll both be like, I don't know what.
What's worse is my wife will we'll be watching something and she's like really, really perceptive, but isn't like a mega Star Wars fan. And so she'll catch something like a line or something that I've heard a million times and it just passes right over my head. And she'll be like, well, does that mean that? And I'm like, no, wait.
Yeah,
it might.
Maybe.
Yeah, and then I'm like quietly pulling out my phone. She's like, "Are you on Wikipedia?" I'm like, "No." I'm like checking some important. These are important emails. This is like important business things, and it's like, "Oh yeah, she's right. Okay, yeah, you're right. Good observation."
Jada, what about you? Now that you're part of Kate's Den, is there someone on the faction that you're really interested in studying with or getting to know?
Riley, man. Riley, Goddard is another one. I just, Goddard got into this same time as I did, and he's just always shown me a lot of love throughout. Every time that he would watch my matches and whatnot, he was always a positive vibe. Even when we met in person, he was just the nicest person ever. But I again, longtime fan. I was a huge fan of Riley. Duralde is another one, to be completely honest with you, that I'm excited he's on the team because he's so knowledgeable.
Mhm.
Real quick, Jader.
we go ahead.
Was it true that you and Duralde were going to be a team last year for the team tournament?
I love how he even in this he's trying to get scoops.
No, that's not a scoop. I just want to hear Jader confirm it. That's all.
That was
I just want confirmation.
that was the idea.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's what was supposed to happen. I originally I was the one that actually pitched the idea to Harloff about I mean, this is Canal said it since it's all last season. I had originally pitched the idea to him about Hannah, and I said, a heel and a face, because I know it's all kayfabe when we all play a character, but I'm playing myself. I'm legit myself on the thing. I'm not playing any character as of right now. And I told him, and we actually had a team name, and it was the Perfect Storm.
Oh,
right? that was supposed to
That's
be our
solid.
team name.
That's
And I thought it was so good because of Hannah's character and obviously me being the Hurricane. The Perfect Storm was just such a dope name that we fell in love with it. Kudos to Hannah for coming up with that idea. We were just pitching names left and right, and he just threw it out there, and I'm like, that's it, dude, that's it. I don't want to hear anything else. But Christian had mentioned, hey, I was kind of thinking this. What do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. You're the one that's gonna make the final decision at the end of everything. I do what you tell me to do, And then it ended up being, I think because they were thinking Deep 13 in the tournament. I had talked to Ken, and I was like, hey, I really want to be in this, but I don't want to step on anybody's shoes, especially players that have been doing this for a long time. And again, I'm a fan as well. I wanted to see Deep 13, obviously, in the team's tournament. I think something happened that it was a scheduling conflict, just to let that all out there. As far as I was told, they're like, it's okay, because I'm like, hey, I don't want to take this spot and then be like, hey, why the hell did this guy take it when I've been doing this for so long? I'm not that person. But yeah, so it ended up happening. It sucked that we only got that one match. I totally blame myself. I'm completely hard on myself for that match because I knew, again, and we lost to the Odd Couple, which ended up taking the whole thing.
That's fine.
But,
if you're gonna lose to someone, you want it to be
it's legit the only thing that lets me sleep at night. That I was like, we're gonna get our asses handed to us anyways. But I feel like I didn't bring my A game, and I missed simple questions that I know over and over again. Like I said, they asked me about Lethal Weapon, and I said Donald Glover said a Danny Glover, something that I know like this. I missed the dumbest questions.
It happens to the best of us, man. It happens to the best of us.
And it did. But I even told Hannah, and I'm like, if I ever get the opportunity, I'll bring this out to the universe. I owe him that win. If it's against me, it's not gonna happen. But if we ever team up again, I owe him that win. And I told him because I completely felt bad. He understood. He was actually a very nice guy about it. It's very, very, very rare for
Brandon Hannah being nice.
Yeah.
No,
However, I guess for that moment, because I obviously told him what was going on with me. He was like, that could have happened. If that would have happened to me, I understood completely. So he's like, I don't even know how. He's like, you jumped into the match and did what you did. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm so excited. I need the season to start tomorrow. I'm so hyped.
Let's get this going.
Molly's like, no, not yet.
Yeah. Let's pump the brakes, guys.
Yeah.
What day is it?
Not Sunday.
I did have a note while these two guys are here, and I know Thomas was bringing it up a little bit there. For me, the Den is like actually the perfect place for these two because I personally am like about the Den this year. I think the Den is going to be the faction to like watch out for. I've already looked at like all these drafts. I'm like, this is a dangerous faction right off the bat. But what I love is that you saw it last year. If you're watching the Den last year, it felt like a family. I know, like, there's a certain feeling you get with like each individual faction, but the den itself felt like a specific family just by watching them and hearing how they flow together. And it's not any different this year. It is still feels like, even though there are like new people in here, there's, you know, some of the people that were there before are gone, but the new people, it still feels like a family. And I think that's going to be like the killer element for the den this year. It's just, I mean, with Kate saying that, you know, Paul and Goddard were kind of like the linchpins here, and then you got Rachel still coming back and how supportive Rachel is for the entire faction.
Yeah.
And then you've got someone
absolutely.
like Riley in there. And then Jader, you've already had like your experience last year and you killed it last year. So you're bringing in that experience into the den. And then we know like Thomas and how much he kills at Dragon Con. He's bringing that experience. That's why I say, like, for me, and especially with like you two guys being a part of it, the den I think is going to be the faction to watch out for here.
I will say I didn't get a chance to see it initially. I appreciate you saying that, and I think it captures the feeling that I had as I watched the draft, like having not had a single conversation with Kate, and you know, my only feel for her being what she portrays on camera in matches.
Yeah.
But you watch her, go back and watch that draft if it isn't already in your memory. She's surgical. Like she's putting on a show, right? And I thought she was hilarious top to bottom. But that clock doesn't run down past like 30 seconds on her. She's not like burning out the clock.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I love Kaiser, but like, you know, nearly like busting the clock on a draft pick. And she's in there. She like makes you laugh. And then she's like, this is my pick, as if however it worked out was exactly how she predicted. And my wife's like, she's like a woman on a mission. That's as best as I can put it.
That's exactly what she was. She was a woman on a mission because of all the shit that people were talking prior, you know.
Yeah, she's a new Kate this season, man. She's kind of scary. She's kind of scary. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm eating it up. I love it. No, and it's crazy because Steph, my girlfriend, she's such a huge fan of hers. Like, huge fan, because I, you know, watch SEN, and she goes, she's so funny. Who is that? And this was before I even got drafted. Now she knows Kate Mulligan and all that. And when she heard, I hadn't talked to her because she's like, you know, where do you think you're going? I don't know. I kept saying, I don't know. I'm like, I don't even want to think about it until the day of the draft. When she heard Kate's name and she heard my name, and then she goes, oh my God, freaked out.
Yes.
You know, yes, and then she's just, you know, such a huge fan of Kate, and I have been ever since. She said this, I don't know, I think it was backstage actually, where she said it. The Tom and I match, right? Where we had, not we as in her, but just there was a problem with the question. Obviously, Tom was in character and couldn't say to challenge the Sin City question, right? And you know, this whole spiel, obviously, that you guys can't see, went down backstage, where, you know, she was highly upset because, you know, he wanted to challenge, she didn't challenge, she didn't know she should challenge, the whole back and forth, and he ended up missing that next question. So it caused him a perfect round. Well, I got a perfect round, and it caused him a perfect round. Ultimately, it didn't matter because he did beat me at the end. She immediately, because she was pretty pissed off, right? Immediately messaged me after the match, maybe 15 minutes after the match, and apologized and completely said that I was now in her radar because of you. She goes, you played so well, and had it not gone to opponent's choice for you, she goes, you would have ran with it. She goes, you had a perfect first round and a perfect third round. Mm-hmm. She goes, and she goes, had you had any slice that you were decent at, she goes, you could have taken that, you know? And then she goes, I have my eye on you. And this was legit, like right after that match. So imagine, she's probably been doing her homework for a while now, you know, and she would always check in here and there when I would put something of the kids, you know, she's a mom. So when I would put my kids or something on my Instagram, she's like, oh, so cute. How are you, hon? This and that and that. And then she reached out and she was like, what's going on? Like, again, some other managers did too, some other factions did, but she was the one that seemed like, I need this guy.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm just happy to be home, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
this is a new home for me, and it's great, you know?
I love
I freaking love Kate. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We all do. We stand Kate in this household. We stand Mama Kate.
Well, Jader and Thomas, to both of you, to Thomas,
I have one thing.
Okay, go
For Thomas. One, happy belated birthday.
Yes,
thank
happy
you.
belated,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh,
Happy
happy
belated
birthday.
birthday.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Look
I
how
would like
old I've become.
two things. One, Alex Damon does not speak in this chat until you're here, so I want to know what's going on with that.
It's Pavlov's dog. He hears the sound of my voice and
Yeah. And then, did you get any cool Y-Wing stuff?
I am like I will go with whatever character that is handed to me. I'm like the bell that makes him salivate. But what I am bound and determined until I'm told to cease and desist formally, in writing from Christian, that I will work a Y-Wing into my shtick somehow. Whether I have a belt to lift, so perhaps it's walking in when we do live events again with a Y-Wing. I don't know. Stay tuned.
Yes. Yes.
What do you think about this?
Yes.
What do you think about this gold leader on the Finstock?
I told Evan that he's a nice guy, but I'm going to have to rip that nickname from his cold, defeated hands before this season is over, and that's just the way it is.
That's great.
He doesn't even like Y-Wings. He said, what did he say? He said he just picked the name. Craig, look, your boy is good, but he's that nickname alone is motivation for me to do all the prep necessary to beat him. But he was like, I don't even like Y-Wings. I just picked the nickname because I thought it sounded cool, and I just had to shake my head that's blasphemy in my world.
That's when you put him on your list. All right, I'm gonna.
You're number one.
First.
Everybody else is off the list. You're on top, and
You're
you're
my
it.
number one.
Yikes!
You make the list in the strangest ways for these Star Wars players.
I know, right?
It's-
The strangest, nerdiest way.
yeah.
He doesn't like Y-Wings. He took this name from me.
Yeah.
You're on my
Yeah.
list now.
All of those words are on there.
well, to both of you, Thomas, first of all, congratulations and welcome to the Schmoedown.
Welcome.
Thanks.
And
Thanks.
Jader, congratulations on joining the Den and being a part of that
Thank
faction. We look forward to seeing everything that happens in 2021. It's definitely be exciting, and good luck with everything, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much,
Molly,
man.
I'm looking
Thank
forward to
you,
your
Evan.
match. I'm very excited to
Thank
watch. Good luck.
Molly,
Thanks for having us
congrats on the
back
draft
on.
as
Thank
well.
you guys.
All right.
Congrats.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
The Den looks pretty good, guys.
Den's coming in hot.
Yeah.
Den's
Those look
coming in hot.
good.
So
Man.
good.
Den
I think my favorite pick of that faction is Riley. Just
Riley's
because
a great pick for her.
he's seen it all. He can lend so much wisdom and advice to everyone on that faction. And I think that was something that, through no fault of Kate's, she was a first year manager. She got thrown into this thing
Yeah.
with barely a month's notice, and for better or worse, it kind of showed. And she's hell bent on rectifying that. And she got some really knowledgeable people on her faction to help along with that. And Riley's definitely one of those. And I know Paul Preston and Ben Goddard, they know the game. They love the game very, very much. And obviously Saul and Peggy and just the whole list of people there that Kate brought in is really just a rejuvenation that you could only have hoped for if you're a fan of Kate Mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
I like her rookies that she grabbed too.
Yeah.
With Thomas, Lacey, Jessica,
Yeah.
and Peggy.
Peggy. Mhm.
Those were solid choices. Solid
Yeah.
choices that are gonna learn a lot from the people that are on that team. So
I think
Yeah.
the fascinating thing now is that you don't hear. I haven't heard anybody saying a damn thing about the trade at this point,
No.
Right?
Because I think everybody
not a
recognizes.
word.
Everybody recognizes what I was saying from the beginning. Also, I know a lot of people are saying, but I was saying is Kate knows what she's doing now, and
Yeah.
that trade was killer, and she proved it in that draft.
She did.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
100%. It was a solid trade for her, and she it shows in her draft picks. 100%.
And I agree with you, Peggy. Silvestrini in that last round was
Yeah.
a steal.
Yeah. should
Man, such a steal.
not have gone in the last round. I will say that much.
God.
Should not at all have been a last round pick. But
You lit
getting
a
her back-
fire under
Ooh.
Rachel. That's for
Ooh.
damn sure. Good luck seeing that one.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit, and we have our final two guests actually coming on. One of them is part of Molly's brand new faction, and that is the dungeon, and that is Mr. Robert Parker. What's up? Oh,
Look at
great
that
shirt,
shirt.
man!
Look at that shirt.
Look,
Robert.
I haven't.
Wow, what a
last
show.
time. Last time I was on the show was when Jake and Brian were doing like duo interviews. Like I was on like their second or third episode, so I'm trying to kiss ass so I can get back here more often. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right. I don't see no rundown shirt on him.
I know. I don't see no rundown.
There's no rundown shirt to be had.
Oh, wow.
It's been a long time.
it's true.
I just,
I was gonna say, look at that retro. Look at that retro logo.
Love
yeah,
it.
it's the OG.
Right
Like,
there.
yeah,
I love it.
absolutely.
I
I have
love
a mask with this on too. It's just
I
in my
saw
car
you
right now.
showed me the mask. The
I love it.
I love
And
it.
then also joining us, officially entering into the Schmoedown universe, and that is Jeffrey Kahn, part of the Stock Exchange.
What's up?
Who are you? Who are you?
Even Christian doesn't know. Even Christian doesn't know.
I do want to say though, is that a Pizza Planet
Yeah,
sweatshirt?
Jill, you
Yes,
took what
it
I
is.
was gonna say.
That's pretty
Yes.
cool. That is pretty cool.
You immediately just went on my radar list.
Yes,
just from
you
that
already
sweatshirt
scored
alone.
points. Points in my
Thank
book
you
right
very
now.
much.
You got a Pizza Planet.
Well, Jeffrey, welcome. Congratulations to officially
Thank
being
you.
drafted, man.
Thank you very much. It's proud moment of my life.
Oh yeah, I was talking to Barbarian this morning. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really know about you until I kept hearing. I heard Dagnino going, the king, Jeffrey Kahn, the king, and I'm like, who is this guy? I love the name. The name sounds badass. And then I'm hearing that there was a mock match on SCN apparently, which you scored a perfect score on.
I think it was the one on Backstage.
The one on
Where they brought
Backstage.
in 4 rookies. They asked 7 questions. No one else got 7, and I played along, and I did. So
Wow,
Nice.
that's impressive,
There you
sir. That's impressive. That's
Yeah.
welcome to the Schmoedown, sir.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Parker, I'll go to you next, man. Obviously, you were part of the free agency special, and you were part of Kaiser's 3.
We get it, Robert. You're cool.
But what I wanted to say is that you officially have a teammate on screen here.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh God, we were so lucky. You should have seen. You have. So we had a little war room going, little Zoom call going during the draft, and you should have seen the look on our faces, like as pick after pick went by, and we're like, we're gonna get Molly. Holy shit, we're gonna get Molly.
You should have seen the look on our
There's
faces.
no
as
way.
it
How
comes
is we are the luckiest people? Like at pick 16, we're gonna get somebody with a #1 contender match? Are you fucking kidding me? We were so lucky, and we're so incredibly happy to have her. And yeah, we're this is gonna be a good season for the dungeon.
Agreed.
Molly,
I'm very excited.
We can interview Molly now because now she's in.
Absolutely, yeah. What's your
so,
favorite
Molly-
type of candy?
The blood of my enemies.
Good answer. Good answer.
That's dungeon material. Yeah.
Now we're talking.
So, Molly, have you already started Bateman's 60-day clock for Star Wars?
I have. He just doesn't know it yet.
Oh, okay, good. Good to know. Good to know.
60 days from a couple days ago. Yeah, I'll be like, all right, here's your chance. You're a Star Wars player now.
Right.
Nah.
Oh goodness.
All right,
He's got
Jeffrey, I
the
gotta
support
ask,
system
man.
to do it this year, too.
Oh, go ahead, Parker. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Bateman's got the support system. Like, if he, I don't know if he's serious about it, but if he genuinely wanted to, like, he's got the system. Like, this would be the year for him to do it.
Good
like,
luck.
he's got. I'm not speaking for him. I'm just saying with people
He doesn't
like
get the
Ollie
year.
and Mara
He
and
only gets
Hoey and me and Smet, like with the people around him, it would not be an impossible task, I don't think, to get him a win in that division.
Good luck.
Hopefully doesn't choke away a 6-point lead, but yeah.
Oh man, look at
That's
this.
big talk.
That's a FinSock Exchange member if I ever heard one.
Oh,
I know who
my
the
God.
black is. I know who the black
I
is.
love it. I love it.
Guns blazing.
Yes.
What is happening?
Oh, this is the best.
Okay, all right. So outside of the total move that you just made, I do want to ask, going back to draft night, how did it feel? You know, hearing your name come across the board and being a part of the FinStock Exchange.
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to be part of the live portion of the draft. I even told Barbarian that they could wait until the very last round that's announced on Twitter to pick me because literally no other manager reached out to me.
They could have done that for all their picks, bub.
Jeez, are we just gonna get faction in? Like, are we just gonna get faction?
This is the rivalry of the season. It's literally this.
But yeah, I was expecting to be picked in the very last round, and then I heard my name in the 7th round. Barbarian texted me after, said like we wanted to highlight you because we wanted everyone to hear the nickname, so that's why I got picked earlier than I thought I would. So,
that might be the smartest move they made all night doing that. I'll tell you the truth, because it worked. Because
they made plenty of smart moves. They made plenty of smart moves.
I mean, I will say they got a lot of guff that night for sure, and as the hours have gone on, the days and has gone on, I keep looking at this roster and I go, man, I do get this creeping feeling over me that they really did some great homework, but it's got to pay off, and it's going to take some time to see if it does pay off, because all rookies on the live portion, the only player all of them, aside for one player, Taylor Robinson, who played only a few years ago in a wildly different Inner Geeking division, and she was a wildly different player back then. I'm assuming she's way different now, but it's easy to go look at that squad of all rookies and go, what are they doing? What are they doing? And Craig came on the rundown. Gucci was on rundown, and they were very pissed off. They were pissed off to a certain degree, and
they were almost angry enough for Gucci to put on a shirt. It was impressive to watch.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. Now I get this creeping feeling as the more I'm learning and hearing of other players and like yourself and Ty Lieberman. I go, oh man, maybe, in the end, you guys might be laughing. I don't know. I'm not saying you guys are going to win it all, but it's not going to be I don't think it's going to be as bad as people are predicting from that night.
I don't think. Yeah, if you think the suspects are the dark horse, what's darker than a dark horse? So that's what we are.
I don't think they're going to come last this season. I don't think they're going to be in the last place.
Exchange.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't know who is going to. I don't know who is going to be.
I don't think. No. That's what I said. I said the wrong word. Yes, I do not think Exchange is going to come in last based off the draft.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really hard to figure out who that might be and what will be the margin of what determines the last place and 7th.
Yeah,
or even to first place for that matter. What's the point spread's going to look like all year long?
During the draft, I was no offense, Parker, but I was saying, is Finstock the new dungeon where they're just pulling all these random people? And we saw. Parker, I love you. We saw what happened with the dungeon last season.
Yeah, COVID happened with the dungeon last season. That's the truth. At the time, it made sense.
So I kept saying, is this going to be the same thing? But after I talked to Craig extensively today, and we should start trademarking this, Molly. They did their research.
Wish we should trademark dossier, but yeah.
And dossier. Can someone explain what is this dossier thing I keep hearing? What is this? Can someone?
The dossier.
Okay, listen.
I'm pretty sure that's a country dance move.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Dicky Doo Dosido.
I love the fact that we left it to Jeffrey to defend the FinStock Exchange against everybody.
I'm so sorry.
But can I just say that he's giving the clapbacks, and so
it's pretty good. You're shooting up right now.
If I can ask Mr. King over here. How did you find the Schmoedown, and then how did Barbarian find you?
Yeah.
I came to the Schmoedown around 2016. My first match I watched was Campy and Merle. And so I've always loved watching movies, and I've always had like a good brain for movie trivia. So I started playing along, got most of the questions right, and so just continuing to watch, continuing to play, I thought I could do this if they ever asked me to be in it. So I sent in an audition tape. I didn't think it was very good myself, but the Barbarian reached out like a few weeks before the draft and said, like, hey, can you jump on a Zoom call? I'd like to talk to you. And so that's, and the rest is history.
Wow. Okay.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
And just to clarify, are you singles and teams?
For now, yes.
For now.
For now.
I did tell, I think it was JT. I told them that if you need a pinch hitter for Inner Geekdom, I could step in. I'm not saying I could contend for a title or anything, but I could maybe win a beginner's match or something.
Oh,
So,
that's an asset, man. I mean, it's definitely an asset, even especially with all these different matches we're getting this season. Even someone who feels like they can just take their chances at Inner Geekdom is a big get,
Yeah.
So it's another get for you guys. That's awesome.
I would like to know, King.
Is it Mr. Is it King or the King?
I like saying King.
Call it any variation works.
Now, Mr. the King.
Mr. Dr. King.
Have you already been yelled at by Roka?
I have. In our private group chat, he's yelled my last name several times.
The con makes sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Just like
He sent a William Shatner gif, and that's it.
exactly. And the actual King
That's
Kong,
another intro into Schmoedown. It's either you're not into Schmoedown unless you get apparently bullied by Frankie Janish, and unless you get yelled at by John Roca. So.
Well, so I gotta ask, since nobody's really, they don't really know who you are at this point. It was a very surprise to hear you drafted in early, but I want to know what are you most excited about coming into this league, and then two, who are you looking forward to the most inside your faction of playing with, learning from, being a part of, any of that variation?
I think I'm just excited to show that I can hang, because I think over every year playing along, I started to not look at the screen during questions, so I could actually do what the competitors are doing.
Very smart.
I think so just doing that repeatedly, getting in all the training, I think I'm excited to prove that I'm not just a random unknown that the Barbarian took out of nowhere. I'm excited to prove that I can hang, and I think for the faction, the core veterans that we do have, it was not just all rookies. Of Roka,
you mean just the three?
The three.
Oh, right. But those three.
Two and a half. JT's been going along, folks.
2.5.
You just can't ask for better veterans than those three. So just picking their brain, seeing how they study and how they prepare is going to be really, really something.
Frankie,
Frank, you had a comment on that one?
No, I'm just saying, he's buying into the Finstock Exchange propaganda, obviously.
I'm pretty sure Barbarian wrote every word that you're... Yeah, do you have a teleprompter there?
Jeffrey, blink twice, Jeffrey, you're okay.
If you've been taken, blink twice.
I'm all in.
King, who's your favorite player to watch Schmoedown, or who have some players that have been your favorites?
So if I can kind of go outside the faction, it is Parker's teammate, Dan Merle. That was always my favorite because I watched him from Screen Junkies and then coming over to Schmoedown. So that was always my favorite because he approaches the game, I guess, the right way for me. So he was the number one, and then everyone else was far behind.
I just see on Twitter real quick, Roka woke up in a hot sweat and he's going to yell at you again here in a minute.
There is a question for the chat for Mr. King here, and Brian wants to know who would you like to debut against?
It'd probably be a rookie. I'll play any rookie, any singles rookie. But I guess if I want to play a veteran, I think I could beat Eric Zipper right now. So if that's my debut match,
hold on, I'm gonna give him a phone call really quick.
Get on the show.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I've seen Zipper play, and I think I can beat him.
Let's do a mock match right now.
Let's do it. he actually was going to be on tonight, but he is currently playing Dungeons and Dragons. Do with that information.
Yeah, that checks out. That checks out.
Checks out.
That sounds about right.
Well, before we let Mr. King go, does anybody else have any questions for him?
I want to know just more about you. Like, I feel like you're kind of this enigma that is only really now kind of being noticed. So, what if you want to give out any information? You don't have to. What's
like personal details or?
Sure.
What do you want?
Where do you
social?
live?
What's the last four numbers? What's your PIN? Yeah.
Credit card number.
IC code, yeah.
But are you a local Californian? Like what's like? Tell us a little bit about you. Like, introduce yourself to the Schmoedown because you haven't had a chance to. You know.
Sure. And I said earlier that even Christian, when Baron presented my name, he said who, so he didn't even know who it was. So yeah.
Introduce yourself.
That's how you know you're welcome.
I'm originally from upstate New York. I went to college at the University of Illinois. Graduated 2017. And then I moved out to California about 2 years ago because I also have a lot of family here. And I've been watching movies almost as long as I can remember. Grew up on Pixar, so that's why I have the Pizza Planet shirt, obviously.
Yes.
Good choice.
So yeah, it was only more recently is when I started taking, I guess, movie watching and also the Schmoedown more seriously. But yeah, that's a quick intro.
What's your favorite Pixar film?
Yeah, you stole what I was going to ask.
It'd be Toy Story 3.
Solid.
There's
That is
so
my
many
favorite.
perfect ones, so I can't. It's hard to pick, but it's Toy
It's
Story
my favorite of the Toy Stories. Is Toy Story 3.
What is your thoughts on The Incredibles?
Listen, if you have one,
Jill, be quiet.
I think I've on my Letterboxd account. I think I've rated 7 or 8 Pixar movies as perfect. So
is The Incredibles one of them?
yes, The Incredibles is one of them.
Good. Okay, we can.
Jill now has power on the stream where she was about to kick you if you said no.
I was. If you say a single bad word about The Incredibles, you're out.
I would never.
Good. We could be friends.
Chris, did you have something you wanted to ask?
Well, yeah. So I kind of wanted to dive in a little bit more on like how he feels within the Finstock Exchange, just strictly like how do you feel? And forgive me if we did touch on this at all, but how do you feel as far as like maybe the camaraderie goes as being such a part of such a large like rookie group moving into the same faction together?
I mean, so far so good because immediately after the draft, we started the Twitter messaging. I think we've been sent Excel spreadsheets that are very thorough. So we're going to start studying soon. And I think, just like with all rookies, there's almost no tape on us. So no one has any way to study for us, at least not initially. And so I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. So I'm excited.
That's a question.
I have a question. Did Roka's Excel sheet come via carrier pigeon?
It was a message in a bottle.
Oh man.
Jeffrey, I'm so sorry. Jeffrey, I'm so sorry.
There we go. See, she's in the right place. You know, I'll tell you what.
Definitely. What I wanted to ask was, had you ever considered joining a fan league, or was that just something that you didn't think to get that serious about it?
I think I reached out maybe a few years ago to try and join the fan leagues. Didn't really pan out. I think my lack of presence on Twitter at that time wasn't helping me a lot. So I kind of just gave up on that pursuit and then just kept playing along with the Schmoedown. So
interesting.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Well, I think I'll finish, Jeffrey, with the typical POV question.
We have to welcome the Schmoedown community with the typical POV question. We got it.
Cool thing, because Parker threw it in our face that he hasn't been on over almost a year. We can ask him the same question when he leaves too. But I'll ask Mr. King first. So we're all movie fans, and obviously it sounds like you're a big movie fan. What is your go-to movie snack, and what is your favorite candy?
So I'll start with favorite candy. My go-to is always a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Solid.
I have a long history. My mom, whenever I and her go grocery shopping, and we see a Reese's peanut butter cup, we're always tempted to buy it. So that's me, Reese's peanut butter cup all the way. And so for movie snack, I don't usually snack a lot while watching movies. Back when theaters were open, but I did have a favorite drink, and I would always get an icy. So
Which flavor? Which flavor icy?
Usually blue raspberry is mine.
Solid. Love it. I want an icy so bad now.
Yeah.
Too.
I want an icy.
Well, to Mr. King, thank you so much for joining us. Very last moment, also, and coming on the show. We're glad to kind of give you an opportunity to be out in front of the community. And now that we know you're officially in the league, we look forward to seeing what happens the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Hope to be back.
All right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
We'll be seeing more of you. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of you soon.
Oh, yeah. And I promise the next time we have you on, it won't be a dungeon.
You won't get attacked by a dungeon.
I'll take on anyone.
Sorry, not sorry. This is the welcome committee. This is as much of a red carpet as you're going to get. I apologize to say.
All right, well, Jeffrey, have a good night, man. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Nice.
All right. I mean, shit. He held his own for being.
Dude, the clapbacks were real.
It's a shame he's on the exchange. I gotta say.
Yeah, honestly, he deserves so much better.
Look, all the crap that the exchange has gotten. That's how you start winning people over. Is when you start putting the rookies in front of the camera and they start dominating like that.
Yeah, he held his own, man, and apparently he's got the knowledge. That's what I keep hearing. He's someone to look out for.
He instantly just went up my chart.
Yeah. As soon as he came on with that Pizza Planet sweatshirt, I was like, yes, and check.
All right, so before we get to the other factions, I do want to read some of the Streamlabs we have because we do have a couple that have been backed up here. So I want to read these off.
Any of those have we?
So Tim Sims started off by saying 35 rookies. That could possibly be the biggest number of rookies in a season of the Schmoedown. Should we call this new class either the next class, the next generation, or something because this is a seismic shift?
X-Men First Class.
There you go. Dragon17 came in and said, Molly, did you want to be with Alex in the Stars? Also, I'm going to love Heel Scrimshaw and Sullivan in Corruption.
Same. Same.
I didn't specifically want to be on the Stars with Alex. I was a little bit more open to it than I was previously because I had said previously, like coming in as a free agent, that I didn't want to be on the same team. This year I was kind of like, whatever. But I'm happy that I am not on his team because I prefer the tension that it causes.
We love it.
Because you're smart, nobody's gonna have to pay for shipping for the belt. He's thinking multi-level here.
Exactly. One nightstand to the other, one office to the other.
Exactly. Damn right.
All right, Tim Sim came in again. He said biggest casualties of the draft: Brett Sheridan, Warfather, Alex Morzonia, Josh Covedo, late to the party, Sean Chandler, Tom Chattelbosch, Dave Campbell, and James Baney, without a doubt.
The James Baney one.
Baney is a big one.
Oh my lord!
Yeah, that's crazy.
I 100% agree.
James Baney was my one that I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if, somewhere down the line he gets picked up though. Like if somebody's Star Wars person doesn't perform, I see him coming in real quick.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Ross
Arsenal. I did like him a lot. Yeah.
I liked him a lot too.
Yeah, he was another one.
It's tough with a Star Wars division that has this is the biggest that division's ever been.
Oh yeah.
This is the most rookies that division has ever seen in a season. And I think Dungeon might have the most Star Wars players out of anybody, and we still only have 3, I think. 3 is the max. I think a lot of managers were sort of hesitant to go for more than that. But I agree. It's really unfortunate that especially those two in the Star Wars division, Baney and
4. Ross. Yeah, we have 4, including Mara and Adam Witt.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of Witt. Sorry, Witt. I love you.
Robert Kirker.
No, but I mean, you guys got
sorry. I'll text you.
That's another crime in the draft. Is the fact that Adam Witt dropped as far as he did. That is another crime.
We had so many people, Molly and Witt and Cybold, and so many people were just like,
Whitney,
how are we getting these people? How we get the wheel? We think we were over the moon.
So many crimes committed in this draft.
The Whitney falling to you guys
that's a big get.
That is huge because
a huge
I think
get.
Right.
What round was he?
We got a number 31 overall.
That's insane.
It was
Which
after
is
video
fourth
drew, right?
round. Fourth round.
Yeah, after video drew. Yeah.
Wow.
End of the fourth round.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, last pick in the
That's-
fourth round.
That's straight insanity.
Yeah.
Which is why the general consensus of this draft was, what the fuck?
Yeah. And it's all due to the influx of the rookies. I mean,
Which is not a shot
Yeah.
against these rookies at all.
I don't know.
Like,
No.
These rookies are going to come out and they're going to freaking dominate.
Every
I'm sure.
round had at least 3 rookies go. Every round.
Wow.
Except for the very last round 9, which
Wow,
had 2.
wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Oh, Craig's given good ideas. That's actually
Whitney and video drew.
Yeah, Craig came up with that idea.
Whitney and Drew.
Nobody else thought of that one. I'm just kidding.
Take all
Craig,
the
I love
credit,
ya.
Craig. Craig, take all the
Yeah.
credit. Take all
Yeah.
the credit.
It was in the dossier. He had
Yeah.
another team.
Dossier.
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 The big
Dossier.
man. What a big
I
brain
can't
flow
lower
that would be.
myself. Yeah. God.
All right, couple more here. I want to get through these before we get to our next faction. Thomas H comes in and says, "Good morning. I just want to send my love. Paige, you are awesome. Bleed purple." So that was when Paige was on. Michael K steps in. Based on what we've seen last season, which manager do you think will work the best with this class of rookies? That's a good question.
Not gave himself lots of chances.
Keeping Parker and Molly out of this for the moment.
I'll mute.
I mean, Davino does have half the rookies, so there's that.
Yeah.
I mean, they can literally mold them.
I
how
will-
they
The
want.
exchange.
I will say this. I think Roxy.
Roxy, I think, is going to do wonders with her rookies.
I think
Yeah.
Roxy will do really good.
I think so too.
Because
Are
she
we
is
saying
a
just
veteran.
rookies or the whole team?
Just the rookies that
Just
she
the
has.
rookies.
Or
Just
the
the
rookies they have, the manager has.
Because
Yeah.
corruption only literally has Jacob.
They have Jacob London is their one
I
rookie.
think even the Mercs. I'm looking at the Mercs roster. Eric Whitley, Jesse Swift, Beth May, Josh Horowitz.
The Mercs too, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
Real the Den
Core.
too. That like I feel like there's really not
Yeah, I like the Dens too.
Like,
You're right.
you know, there's all these I think every single faction is gonna do their they're gonna do what they do. It's all gonna be a little bit different. But
Yeah.
like by default, I feel like we have to say the exchange just because there's 80% rookies, so they have to mold because 9 of the 12 players on their team are rookies. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how different the factions kind of work together this season compared to last. I'm really interested to see, especially with the introduction of all these new rookies. It's gonna be very interesting to see. So I'm curious and also intrigued and excited.
I mean, Winston only took 1 rookie.
Yeah.
And that was in the
Shannon.
8th round.
Shannon also only has one.
Yeah, I mean, like that's and those are the top 2 finishing factions last year, and they only took 1 rookie. I mean,
And
that's-
Sean and I were looking at corruption earlier. Shannon pretty much kept a majority of her faction from last season.
because I know
she
that
picked up a lot in the late rounds.
Yeah. Other than Laura, is there anyone that she lost?
Like a major playing, like a
I mean, she
faction.
probably lost somebody who's probably on her faction who never got a match or something like that.
Yeah. She kept the core.
Because
Hoyt did good in the Horde free for all.
Yeah.
And
Hoyt
then
was a
obviously-
get. I think Hoyt was a huge get for her too, as her first pick coming out with not getting a pick until round 4.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
around 3.
I was going to say James White was a steal.
I was just going to say
White
James
was
won
a
that late.
Huge steal. That's another crime. That James White. Her again knocking my table again. That was another crime.
Sean, take the drink. Time to go.
Joke's on you, it's gone.
Joke's on you. Screw you. It's gone.
I just one of these times you're just gonna start chugging it when he comes in, just like no.
Jill, you should join me. I'm going dry for the rest of January. It'll be a good time.
The rest of January.
So what? 4 hours? No, not even. He's 2 hours ahead.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's about 3 hours for me.
We're committed now. We are going to be dry for the remainder of January. Here we go.
Do it.
Let's do it.
I believe in you. You can do
All
it.
right.
Thank you.
Couple more. I got 3 more Streamlabs I think I want to get through. This one, Tim Sim, for Frank Janish and others. So I guess for all of us. Out of the 35 rookies in this new class, which one is the top prospect rookie like Irwin, Oyama, and Parker? Mine has to be Jacoby Bancroft.
Mine is probably Zach Burkett.
Yeah, he's scary. He is very scary.
Mine's probably Zach Burkett. And I told Roxy that. I said, he's a huge get for you. I think he's going to do wonders.
Because he's not just Star Wars. He can play a little bit of
Star Wars. All four. He can play all four.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know it's the cliche answer, but he went number 2 overall. You have to think of Amaru in this situation.
Oh, yes,
right.
Of course.
Especially kind of following the tout that Robert got last year. It's a similar path, and to go number 2 overall in the draft is a big deal. And can he live up to that? Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see. And
I do want to also say that I'm so happy that the Fan League 4 all got drafted.
Yeah, all 4 of them. 2 of them are one faction.
That's awesome. That's
Jacoby
awesome.
and Christina.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's right.
Parker, how the hell did you guys get Flickinger that late?
Excellent question.
That's a really great
excellent question.
At that point.
I couldn't tell you. So somebody joked about it earlier. I think it was a Harper, but like when Kaiser was like burning the clock, part of it was mainly just because he was doing such a great job of like handling that room and making sure everybody was heard out. Everybody had their 2 cents. It wasn't like we had the entire like every draft pick, bring them in instantly or anything like that. But we had like a group of people there who was all. At the end of the day, it's Kaiser's decision, but he was doing a very good job of hearing us all out, and that took time. And because we had the wheel, after we made our number 1 pick, we couldn't be like, okay, here's who we want for 16 and 17 overall, because there's 12, 14 picks between that. Like there's no way for us to accurately plan ahead. So by the time it got down to like Kate and Sam, then we could actually talk about, who's left on the board. And more often than not, it was just, well, it's a no-brainer. How can we not take this person at this pick? This is incredible value to get Molly in round 3. This is incredible value to get Flickinger in round 6 or whatever it was. We had a lot of fortune land in our laps because other managers made choices.
Yeah. Are you stealing the GIF I used in my?
Yeah, a little bit.
Choices.
Yeah, and like some of those choices are going to pan out, and I don't think others will, but we'll see.
Choices.
I'll say I got 2 picks. I mean, like of the ones drafted, I don't know if any eyes right now are on Jessica Schloth, but I would say keep some eyes on there because I've talked to Ben, and like the amount of effort that she's going to be able to put out, and like the things that she can do, just because he's told stories of her like being involved in his Patreon and kind of doing study sessions, and that she is going to be like one of those like no one expects, but is coming in here and is probably going to do some serious damage.
She reminds me of like a Black Widow, just literally comes in, bites you, and you're done.
Exactly.
She's sneaky.
So there's that one, and of the not drafted, and the reason why I say like keep some eyes on the FCL and what's going to happen over there is for some reason Sean Chandler wasn't picked up, and I have no idea why Sean Chandler wasn't picked up. Me and my brother got the awesome opportunity to sit down with him before, since he lives basically in the same city as us. And so we were able to like talk with him over like movie YouTube stuff and kind of glean some ideas and stuff from him. So hearing what he knows and how he applies his knowledge to his own channel, the both of us are just kind of blown away right now as to how he was just completely overlooked.
Yeah. Frank, I don't know if you can answer this, but do you know if they're in the FCL, if it's like Triple League Baseball where they can get picked up, or are they locked in the FCL?
I'm assuming. Well, go ahead, Frankie.
I think
I'm thinking in the wrestling terms of things, but Frankie could probably.
Yeah, I don't think it's been completely decided. When that free agency period, like the trade deadline comes across, I don't know that it's been completely decided whether or not some players from the FCL will be available to be plucked out of there to come up to Schmoedown. I don't know how much they want. I think it also depends how that league is running, what kind of stars you find, who's playing at what levels might dictate that. I don't know. All I do know is that I don't know that there's a definite decision on that yet.
Yeah.
So according to this, Harloff has said
Okay, because I was going to say,
says.
if it's because Harloff
What
has
he
been
said.
comparing it to NXT,
Yeah.
and in NXT, like, here's my wrestling flex real quick. They pulled Paige, where they literally made an entire movie about her fighting with my family.
Yep.
They pulled Paige from NXT and plopped her into the main WWE roster, and she won the belt in her first match. So
Yeah, because what I'm saying there is that also that I don't know if only certain players will be eligible to be picked off from FCL to go to MTS. I don't know
Paige
if
was also
if
the
it's just
NXT
everybody
champion.
or if like the FCL will say here's who's available, because you kind of want to keep some talent down there for better or worse, you know, to have quality matches and put on a good product over there too. So I don't know the specifics of, you know, it's just okay guys, go pick whoever you want out of there, you know, or if it's just like, hey, these are the players that we think can make the jump and that are ready, you know, then that'll be kind of like, I think, a recommendation on the part of FCL and the MTS. And so how that all goes down specifically, you know, I think we'll find out eventually.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how that league goes. It intrigues me. It does intrigue me. I was actually asked last night, would you be interested in going into that with what you know about Star Wars? And I was like, no one has asked me that yet. And I had to pause and think about it for a second because like I was like, could I? And then I was like, I'm way too freaking busy. I couldn't do it. I'm so busy with POV. But I think it's great that they're doing a developmental league. I think it's a fantastic idea because we've seen we're ranting about it right now. How did these people not get drafted? What's going on? Why did they not get picked? Now there's a league for those people, or there's a league.
I didn't mean to
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Robert.
I was just gonna say, like, the whole like, oh, how'd they not get picked up? Look, 60 people didn't get picked up.
Exactly.
Like that was bound to happen, and of course you want to see, like, especially people that you know of outside of the, you know, in the movie space, or people that you support or have a big belief in. Like, obviously, you know, you want to see as many people drafted as possible, but there's only 96 slots, and with 150 plus people in the draft, that unfortunately was going to happen, which is why I agree that I think FCL is a good call for those people who weren't unfortunately picked up.
I think so too.
Yeah, there's just so many people in it right now.
Right.
It's insane.
The list is just gigantic. Yeah. That makes sense.
All right, couple more Streamlabs. I'm going to run through these because they're just comments essentially. Muhammad says, "Hi from Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
I do not have a question. I just want to say that I love you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel comes in and he says, what's up, guys? Just popping in to say hi. Congrats on all the rookies that got drafted. I'm excited for each faction this year, mainly the Dungeon, because they made the right decision in signing Molly. Good luck this year, Molly, and everyone else. And then thanks again for the Super Bad Watch Along, which we just did last week.
Of course, that was fun.
And then Billy Bean has come in with a Streamlabs. He said, hi, I'm Billy Bean.
From Moneyball?
I'm general manager of the Oakland A's. I like all the players that got drafted, but I think we're forgetting one thing. The question is, can they get on base?
I quoted that when we were in our war room. I'm not even kidding. We were talking about people that we want to draft. We're like, what about this person? What about this? And I'm like, he gets on base a lot. Like, I literally said that.
Maybe there was a fly on the wall in your little war room. Maybe there's a little spy going on.
2 or 3 times I said that. Like, someone pitched someone, Kaiser pitched someone, or somebody, and I was just like, you know, I don't know if he's going to get on base a lot. Like, it was good.
What a nerd. What a nerd.
Wait. Speaking of Moneyball, I'm very excited to see how Felix is.
Well, so it's funny. I was just gonna bring up because he got drafted by Roxy. And the Stars are a team that we have not talked about yet. We've not talked about them at all, really, as far as what Roxy was able to draft. So I'll pull up the graphic here. So she obviously has her first 3, but she went out and drafted Brandon Hanna in the first round, followed by Zach Burkett. And then a steal, in my opinion, in Janine coming up in the middle round with one of the Family 4 and Jacoby Bancroft, Felix Moret, who is all about Schmoedown, Ken Jack and Jeff Lowe from Barstool, Christina Vassallo, and then Brittany Young with her final pick. So she got 2 of the Family 4 in there. But, I mean, I'll say this. I think Roxy did a really good job drafting.
Yeah.
I thought she has a very even team with what she's trying to attempt. And we had already mentioned him, but Alex currently has a Star Wars belt, and she got someone who has the capability of getting that belt back if he does lose it, in Zach Burkett.
Yeah. And her rookies are some of the. I feel like the rookies that she was able to get were
the talk of the town.
We're the talk of the town at the top of all the managers' radars, like Jacoby and Zach.
Jacoby's a big pick,
and Felix, and so she got some major steals in her draft picks, which she was calling everyone idiots and.
How did this person fall? We heard it.
You can't really blame her.
There were 96 picks. We heard that 90 times.
Can't really blame her for calling people idiots when she's able to get really the rookies that everyone had on their radar. So
I will say there are people that I'm very interested and excited to see her manage.
Yes,
Brandon.
I'm very,
and I think she's going to manage Janine very well.
Me too.
Which you said is a steal. For the record, she only got because of that trade. That's who she picked in that third round, like in between our wheel picks. Had she not made that trade last season,
this guy.
Oh, look at that! Had she not made that trade that season, she doesn't get Janine.
She's probably in the dungeon. She's probably in the dungeon.
She would have been
Almost certainly.
Yeah. So
The only one
confirmed.
I can neither confirm nor deny the details of any operation.
I'll confirm it.
The only one I feel like I'm missing from Roxy's team and I really wanted to see on Roxy's team was Sabrina. And not because of the Brandon aspect, but because Sabrina and Roxy together, I feel like would be a killer duo. And I was just kind of hoping for that, but I know Sabrina ended up falling to the Mercs instead.
Well, the fact that she fell as far as she did too, which we'll get to. But
yeah.
I want to talk about Sabrina later. I have thoughts on Sabrina that I'm excited about.
I think Christina and Roxy are
Christina too. Christina was
together.
a solid get because another before.
Yeah.
So would you, if you're Roxy, would you pair Jacoby and Christina together?
I would. You don't think so? You wouldn't?
No,
well, they already have the relationship built.
I think you need to put both of them. Like both of them are obviously big fans of the show and good players. Like both of them are very good picks. But I think both of them need a partner who has played before, frankly, who has had the pressure. Like they've obviously played many matches in the fan leagues and have done amazing things there. But a Jacoby Janine team is something I'm much more interested in than a Jacoby Christina team.
A what team? Sorry, I missed it. Andrew Guy.
Like Jacoby and Janine, or Christina and Janine, or maybe one of them with Hannah if he's staying in the team's division. I don't think putting two rookies together on a team is necessarily the move, but she also has the rookies to do it. Like she's got, like you said, half of her roster is rookies. So
she easily can put them because, like I said, they already have they already have that relationship. They're part of the fan league 4, so they already have like that camaraderie, which is something that you have to build with a teammate that you've never worked with before. And they already have that hill that they've already climbed. So.
I think if also you can get these rookies matches, in singles matches, because it's going to be some time before we see team matches.
Yes.
So if you're able to get these reps, and then you can get a feel for where their level is at, what their strengths and weaknesses are, on top of already doing all that work behind the scenes already, but then you put it into practice or put it into play, then I think you can figure out, Roxy will be able to figure out better who to team up with. Because I outside of the odd couple, I don't think I don't know that she would be completely worried about who I'm going to put together as a team right now. Maybe you find out in these study sessions who's really gels well together, and that's the direction you go. So you have plenty of time to figure out all the options she has at play here to figure out who works best together and who would do well as a team.
And thinking about that, just a random comment, it's kind of a positive in that aspect that we aren't having teams matches for a while, because you can really see which teams you can build within your faction on these next couple of months. So you could really build that deadly team without just being you're together, go. Like you can really study your players and figure out you would be a perfect fit. Let's test this out a little bit before we push you into the deep end. So
I'm excited to see Alex and Brandon work together.
Yes.
The Green Hornet.
Green Hornet.
It lives.
Okay, I can just see the two of them watching that movie together. Like,
that's a very cute picture. Yeah,
that is very cute.
Yeah.
But then seeing them both be like, "This is an IG movie."
Yeah, of course. What's our next team?
Let's talk about the Mercs. We have not talked about Koi very much, and he obviously had his first 3, finishing out with Kevin Smith there. But he takes Andrew DiMolanta with his first round pick. Which
wait. So you can sign a celebrity player. Okay, interesting. Okay,
that's free agency, not a draft.
As one of your 3, right? You can choose to do that. Okay.
And then so he surprises everybody by taking DiMolanta first. He follows it up with blind wave rookie Eric Whitley. Followed by Jesse Swift, who has been making the rounds on social media, with Perry Nemiroff, Beth May, Josh Horowitz, Greg Alba returning, Sabrina Ramirez in the late rounds, and then reuniting the Real Rejects with John Humphrey in his final pick. I also really like what Koi did. I mean, it's a revamped version of what the Mercs were last year, but also players who are a little bit stronger of what the players he had last year.
I'm just happy we got the Real Rejects back, to be honest.
I am too. I'm very happy.
That was one I was like,
whoa, guys, are we sure they're going to be a team? I mean, come on.
We don't even know if they're going to gel.
I don't care if they're, as long as those 2 people are in the league still playing, I'm happy.
Although
wild buried. I hope that becomes a thing.
I think Greg Alba going that far was also a crime. Like, I think Greg really proved himself last season in both IG and the teams division, and him going that far, I was on.
Well, let me say something to that effect, and that goes for a couple other players that are like, well, how did this, like in terms of Scrimshaw, like how does this guy fall? How do these players fall to these positions? And sometimes, when managers do their due diligence and figure out what kind of commitment can you make, how can you play this year? Do you want to play this year? And they go, look, I'm a pretty busy individual. We got a lot of things going on. I'd like to play, but I can't guarantee you I can give you this part of the year or anything. Or if it's this part of the year, then yeah, cool. If you want to take a chance on me, I'm more than willing to do whatever it is. And so there are conversations like that happen. You got to figure out what they're capable of, and sometimes. Greg and John are very busy guys. They got a lot of things going on. And so you go, well, I like Greg a lot and I like John a lot, but can I take him this high? And if I do, I might be sacrificing a slot here because through no fault of their own, they can't commit in the way that they would like to or I would like them to. And so that's why you see someone like Greg Alba, be Koi's 10th on Koi's list there on his roster. So I understand how people will look at this and go, what's going on? But sometimes you got to dig a little deeper, and sometimes there's just things that, as a viewer, as a fan, you just won't know off the top, and that's okay. That's going to happen, but I think eventually some light will be shed on just exactly why these players fell to where they fell because of how often they show up or don't show up.
Yeah, that's fair. Don't bring that knowledge in here.
Apparently, Greg is directing a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him! Congratulations.
So, there you go.
So yeah, that guy's got plenty of time for Schmoedown.
Here's also
listen, Frankie. I just really like the Real Rejects.
I know. I love the Real Rejects.
Here's a good point that Brian makes.
I didn't say anything.
6 he got back are the 6 that got him points last year, and then he took everybody else away. Real Rejects, right?
Yeah.
Shazam, Kevin Smith, and Perry were the 6 that were the strongest for him last year, and then he kind of just did something new. And he got someone like Beth May, who a lot of people have been talking about, obviously in the social media world and everything like that. Sabrina late in the rounds, which we didn't get to see much of her last year. She only got one shot.
Can we talk about the name she dropped on Twitter?
Freaking
the Siren.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
The Siren Sabrina Ramirez. Yes, please.
It's pretty good. I like
yes, please. I am.
What was it before? Spicy? What was it?
Spicy Sabrina.
Yeah, like
whatever.
Yeah, I like.
I will say.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
Okay, Mr. Dossier.
I will say every single person on that team is such a Koi pick.
Yeah.
Minus maybe DiMolanta.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
Oh
maybe.
yeah.
I was trying to be nice. But yeah, it's literally like I see him and I go, yep.
I mean, DiMolanta with the pull like Apollo Yama. That's kind of like
it could be interesting.
It
could be very interesting. And he does have a title shot, which makes sense. He
big
has
deal.
that shot.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see that. We want to see Andrew DiMolante be quirky. Be quirky.
Yeah.
Right? I'm so thrilled though with Eric Whitley and Beth May being on this.
It's a good fit.
I was like, these two are the ones, like, those are like my highest picks for like, you gotta get these two on the squad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There were a couple picks that I was not surprised in the slightest that he got. Whiteley was not surprised. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
That one I was
A little bit after taking DiMolante.
To be honest, I was shocked he did not take him first.
Really?
I went over
I don't know, with
DiMolante.
DiMolante at the board at that spot. I mean,
I don't know.
Well,
I think I was more surprised that it was back-to-back Star Wars people.
That's what I'm talking about.
I will say,
True.
I think Coy looks at Whiteley as a duo of Star Wars and IG.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's looking at. Because what were the two things that Coy was lacking last year? Star Wars and IG.
yeah.
And the first two picks he made in the draft were two Star Wars, but also if you think of IG with Whitley, then he took Jesse Swift and IG with his first three picks.
Yeah.
He went straight to those divisions because that's what he was lacking the most last year. It's a possibility that Whiteley could play both.
Yeah, and I like that strategy on Coy's part. Going, you already have your singles and teams are locked up. I mean, you have to go after Star Wars, you have to go after Inner Geekdom, and at 4, after Amaru's gone, then it's like, do you really want to reach for a little? I mean, because then there's Brandon Hanna. Do you feel like
Hanna and Sol were both gone by the time Whiteley came around?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about like in the first round.
The first pick, right? Instead of DiMolante, right.
Yeah. So then he's just gonna go DiMolante. He's got a title shot. So boom, you got to go that route. Yeah.
Yeah, but his team is so literally.
It's a Coy team. It's a Coy.
Molly, you can absolutely, since he passed you can absolutely hate him now.
He missed out. Yeah.
I can, but will I?
The hate is real now.
Yes. Let the hate flow through you.
All right, let's talk about our final faction here. And that we haven't talked much about Swag and Winston. He's pulling his cards a little bit, and he gets his first 3, and he reunites World's Finest with Eric Zipper, bringing him back to the good, and then he gets Laura Kelly, who fell very, very far in the draft. And then followed by Andres Cabrera. He stole Vinny Mancuso away from Kaiser. Got Haley Fouch, Jen Kemp, John Harris, Bradley Tingle, and Frank Moran with his final pick. I got to say, out of all these picks, I'm so happy that he took Zipper. I know that Zipper's a dungeon guy. I get it.
All the picks.
But I'm so happy he took Zipper.
I think the biggest reaction we had on our Zoom call of the night was Zipper going back to Winston. We all lost our goddamn minds. Because Zipper was with us. Zipper was on call with us. And we completely lost it. We were like, what? Like screaming. It was.
And I get it. Like Zipper's been and he's been great with the dungeon the past couple of years.
Yes.
But
So as a quarter of the rest of his team, by the way.
That's fair. But the bringing them back together, I'm very interested to see how they operate as manager player now. But we obviously have to talk about Laura Kelly too. The fact that she fell as far as she did.
Excuse me, the fact that he picked Laura Kelly first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, he took Zipper first.
Took Zipper first.
I said.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes.
Winston, I love you, but Ace was that Alex? Ace going down that far was a
Wasn't Ace like the 20 some odd pick or something?
24th overall.
Ace going down. This is a shot against not even just Winston, every single manager. Ace going down that far was a damn.
I mean, people are high on these Star Wars rookies. People are high on the Zach Burketts and the Gold Leaders and the Eric Whiteleys and the Maries of the world. Like,
Ace has proven himself. We saw him.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just explaining the thought process. That 4 or 5 Star Wars rookies were picked before Ace because people are high on them.
And I'm still.
And frankly, they'll get other rookie matchups too. Ace isn't going to be playing rookies.
The disrespect that he dropped that far.
But what I'm trying to wonder right now is he pulling in Laura just as trade fodder for Shannon? Because I'm looking at Twitter and all these other like competitors and rookies I see, like, I'm so glad to be on this faction. I'm so glad to be with this team. I haven't seen Laura say a thing about being a part of Swag.
Well, she's studying.
Yeah, she's
I mean,
studying.
She
obviously,
better be if she
obviously,
wants
yeah,
to
I mean,
have a
that's-
chance in hell.
But is he trying to get points out of her from the beginning? Is he trying to get those points and then once that's done, trade her off if she didn't get the points?
He better ask for the galaxy for.
That's
Laura
what I was gonna
Kelly.
say. Winston's a smart guy, and but Shannon doesn't have a whole lot to trade.
No.
She does not have a lot of collateral to put up for Laura Kelly at this point. Like, maybe if Jacob London goes on a crazy run, like, she could maybe, after the first or second match, maybe talk him into it. But there is not a whole lot that she can put up right now, because even if she put up 2 players, that means Swag has to drop somebody. There's just not a lot. There's not a lot that she has that I think, in my opinion, would be worth taking in a trade.
If Winston wants to trade Laura back to corruption, it almost has to be a straight up trade with Scrimshaw, because you can't.
Scrimshaw and Sullivan or something like.
Yeah, I mean, this year you cannot have just one Star Wars player on your roster, and that's what he would be doing if he didn't get a Star Wars player in return.
I just bought a shit ton of corruption merch. You better not be trading Sullivan.
No, I don't think Sullivan will be traded.
No, I don't think. I'm just spitballing.
Because, I mean, Scrimshaw, he has a history of playing really, really well. Great, in fact. But unfortunately coming up, on the losing side of things. That's the only trade that would make sense, but it's just like, well, then why didn't you just go get Scrimshaw?
Exactly.
So I don't know how likely a trade is unless, because we're seeing this right now in the league, she refuses to play for Winston.
Yeah. What could she be referring to?
I don't think she would do that though.
No. But here's this would be such an interesting position for the league, because you would have 2 completely different types of what these players mean to the league in terms of Jericho and Laura Kelly, and you would see, I think it would be handled in 2 different ways. Look, if you listen to Christian Stereo, he is not happy. He's not happy about the Jericho situation. I mean, like, that's not even a secret. He's not happy about it.
About him going to dungeon, or about what he tweeted?
About him going to the dungeon. Yeah, and that he's not going to play for Kaiser, and so that's not good business for the Schmoedown. I understand that aspect. That's a much larger conversation. But if Laura Kelly were to try and pull that tactic, what do you think the league would do? Well, she's not going to play. Okay. And that presents right on everyone's face the difference there of how these things operate, and that's why I know Laura's definitely not happy that she's not with corruption. I mean, I haven't really talked to Laura about that at all, but I really get the sense of just I'd rather be with Shannon, and that's where I made my home. That's where she feels the most comfortable, and this is
she feels she's unfinished business there too.
Yeah.
So it's I'm telling you, I'm glad it's not my problem. I just gotta talk about it, right?
Until you get a phone call, and then it is your problem.
Yeah, until you get a phone call, it's like, oh
Maybe.
No.
I'm excited to see that chip that Kaiser gets to hold with Jericho and see how that card.
Because he can use that as, you want him back? Give me, like,
How badly do you want him back?
Like, the ball's in his court, really. With
And I also
Kaiser,
think that's why Roxy went and got Brittany Young, just to try and be like, let's just come on, Kaiser, come on, And it's let me tell you, man, this is some real.
It's
real.
It's
man,
yeah.
Let me tell you.
I don't know. I feel like I should comment, but also I don't know enough to comment. Like, like genuinely, I am not the one in charge of making decisions
I can
or having trade conversations or anything like that. But I'll say this: like, in my eyes, I stand by the pick, and the reason is either he plays for us and gets on base and is somebody that we would like to have around and have play for us. I mean, Kaiser tried to poach him during Spectacular. Like, it makes sense. The pick makes sense. Or we get something from Roxy of value. And I'm not the one to determine what value means. because, like I said, I'm not part of that conversation. But we picked him 5th round. Maybe we get her 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a young for Jericho, but Dan said it on the rundown, Frank. There's no reserve sign next to his name. He's in that draft list right in between Cam, Bryce, and Claudia Dolph.
Yeah. Well, and look, Jericho's 0-2, and frankly, he's not that good, right?
He's entertaining though, but he's entertaining.
Exactly. But what's entertaining about an 0-3 celebrity player? I mean, for me, like bringing someone like Jericho into the league as a fan already of the Schmoedown, it's not really necessarily for me. I think it's cool, but it's not really for me. It's to draw other new eyes to the product, which I completely understand on the business level of things. But in a sport aspect, he was in the draft. He's eligible to be drafted. They're playing for points on factions. That's a real thing So you take into that so now those two things, the sport aspect and the business aspect, they don't meet here.
Yeah.
Right. It was a strategic decision, and it more than anything, it's like this is the most most competitive season the Schmoedown has ever been. There's the cash prize, there's contracts, there's a real draft. Like, it is the most seriously that it's ever been taken. So people who say that this was just a flashy pick or just to mess with Roxy, I don't know that is all necessarily true. I think it was a strategic decision, and I think there are some comparisons to draw. They're not the exact same situation, but there's some comparisons to the Marisol trade. Kate took somebody who Kate signed somebody at a certain selected spot for that person's value, and whether Marisol stayed and played for Kate, it'd be a good value as her 3rd sign. Whether she traded and got something else valuable that she wanted, it was a win-win for Kate. I have always been a proponent of that trade, that it was a good call by Kate to do. And I think this is a similar situation where in the 5th round, it made sense whether a trade is in the works or not.
And the rosters are 12 deep.
Right.
And not everyone's going to play. I mean, or if everyone does, it's like one match. So to me, it's not even really a wasted pick in that sense, because you still have 11 other players. And because one spot is probably never going to get you points, just due to the nature of how the league is competitive that way. So if it happens to be Jericho for you,
I definitely think there's just a couple of ways this can go, and honestly, I think Kaiser does hold a lot of cards here, because the worst case scenario for Kaiser is Jericho doesn't play. He drops Jericho and picks up someone who's looking good in the FCL halfway through the year.
Yeah.
That doesn't hurt him whatsoever. No. He's got plenty of other players.
And then
Roxy
Roxy got to drop a player to pick up Jericho.
Yeah.
Because now she'll be beholden in a sense.
Which, to be honest, I kind of wouldn't want to drop Brittany Young, because she's 2-0. Is she not?
She's 1-1.
1-1. Oh, sorry, that's right. So
she lost to who was in Spectacular?
Jader. She lost to Jader, and then she beat Jericho.
Didn't she beat
Jericho?
Jericho?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a whole interesting situation.
It's going to be very fun to see.
It's so funny too, because you look at the league wasn't happy about Bateman Merle teaming up. That just happened to be on the dungeon. Now the league's pissed off at the dungeon for drafting Jericho. It's very much a Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin type of situation. And sorry. Yeah. So it has been such. I mean, and then.
This season hasn't even started.
I know.
It hasn't even started.
And that's another big thing, is even whether he plays for us or a trade happens, that's not something that has to be decided in the next 24 hours.
Right.
Yeah. There's time to let it settle and make it work.
Yeah.
This is what I like about Kaiser's flavor as a manager, though, is while every other manager might follow by the rules or whatever, Kaiser's kind of like, whatever, I don't care, I'll do what I want.
Well, it's also not a rule. That's the other thing. I kind of joked about it earlier with Koi, but if it was a situation where there is no Jericho without Roxy, then she should have signed him or picked him first. She let him fall 5 rounds.
Yeah.
5 rounds.
If Koi put Kevin Smith in his Hell 3.
Yeah.
Right. Because he knew that there was at least a possibility of him being picked up by somebody else in the draft.
Yeah.
He knew that the draft was legit and there's a chance that happens. So he minimized that chance. He took it away completely. And Roxy, that I think she had 5 rounds to draft him and she chose not to each of those picks. And that was a risk. And now whatever comes of it is going to come of it.
I think she didn't even think it was a risk because she was like, no one's going to pick him. And I'll get him with my very last pick or second to last pick.
And that's a bigger mistake to doubt other people. Yeah.
And I can go on and go on with my draft the way I want to because I'm not going to drop Alex or the Odd Couple because they have belts just to sign Jericho. Koi wasn't in that situation.
Right.
So, but still.
Right, that's true.
But still, when you have the players that you're hoping that draw more eyes to the product, Koi, said, hey, you know what? I'll suck it up and I will sign. I'll sign Kevin Smith to kind of avoid this mess. Kaiser, said, hey, he's there. I'm pretty happy with my draft so far.
Kaiser's just pure chaos.
And I also really think that, if and what Roxy said also said in the rundown, she pretty much said like the quiet part out loud. If you ask me about, he's really just that's a favor, that type of thing, which I think we all knew, but like we weren't saying it out loud. And Roxy kind of said that out loud. I felt like on the rundown, and I was like, I don't really like the way that sounds, but I also get it. So it's a whole big mess when it comes to these types of celebrities that you're hoping brings eyes to the product, because then now they also have to operate seemingly on a different set of rules, if you will.
Yeah.
For the betterment of the league, in a sense, but when it's trying to be infused with the sport aspect, the competitive aspect, they just don't line up together. And now we're in a situation like this where it's like, it's kind of sucky.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was pure chaos. I think there was strategy involved more than people are giving Kaiser credit for.
Totally.
And either way, it's going to work itself out.
I will say this to kind of finish off the show. It's after the draft on Friday. It's official that Chris Jericho just likes following the Damons around. Alex last year, now Molly this year. So
yeah, that's true.
There you go.
The connection. That's.
I
want Molly to. I just want Molly to play just for fun teams match with Jericho, so Alex gets jealous.
Alex gets all jealous. Yeah.
I would love to. I'd be honored.
You heard it here first. Damon and Jericho confirmed.
One night only.
One night only.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our very lengthy conversation on.
It's only been 2.5 hours,
It goes so much longer.
No, it was great. There was so much.
Parker's going to be allowed to start drinking soon. We've been
I got an hour and a half. I might as well stay up.
So before we get out of here, I'll let everybody do their whole spiel about where they can find everybody online. Parker, why don't you start us off?
Sure. You can find me here on this show next year when I come back for my annual appearance. But no, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at my weird handle, RBRTPRK98, and also The Dungeon as we progress through this season. I'm really, really optimistic and really, really happy with how the free agency went and how draft went. And, people like crowning people before, a little bit too early, but there's a lot of big things coming for the Dungeon this year.
19 days.
Just make sure to wear that shirt for every single one of your matches.
Yeah, right. For every appearance.
Every appearance.
Mr. Adams, what about you?
Yeah, honestly, you can find both me and my brother over on the Cinefanatics YouTube channel. We kind of stepped back from doing Schmoedown reactions this year. Got a lot of other stuff on the plate to look at right now for content-wise on the channel. We're trying to blow up this year, so we're doing all sorts of fun stuff like rankings and all sorts of stuff over on that channel now. You guys can jump over there though and check us out there. Also at Cinefanatics MLP, and then me specifically, you can find at Cinefanatics at Chris Adams MLP. I'm getting all of our handles mixed up here. That's both on Twitter and Instagram. So that's what we're doing. That's what's going on.
Would the Adams brothers be interested in the FCL if called?
Lo siento, no habla español.
What? That's not true.
I was like, wait, did you say you don't speak
He
Spanish?
said, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish, but I
No
just spoke
habla
Spanish. Yeah.
inglés. I
Yeah.
think.
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué?
Because- yeah.
Como se dice, maybe, en español.
Un gato en espanto fuego. And that's all I have to say about that.
Janice, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FrankieJ29. The Rundown is moving to Thursday nights or evenings, wherever you're at in the country, 6 p.m. Pacific or 6 p.m. Pacific. Every Thursday night. We'll be live. So
Woo.
that's where we're gonna be.
We want our rundown shirts. We want rundown shirts.
I want my rundown shirt. Shit.
Rundown shirts.
Miss Molly Damon?
Yeah, I'm at Molly Damon on Twitter and Twitch and talking Star Wars over on Star Wars Explain, hanging out with my new best friends on the dungeon.
There we go.
Doing some studying, but not really, like that I need it.
Damn right. There we go. Let's go.
Yeah, and I'll be on POV every other night of the week, apparently.
Jill.
Jilly Marie, 2 Y's, 2 E's. You can catch me here half of my life. And you can catch me and Molly this coming Saturday for our next episode of the Happy Hour, where we will have our significant others, Mr. Alex Damon, Mr. Sean Sullivan, and we'll be joined by our guests, Sabrina the Siren Ramirez and Brandon the Hot Man.
Oh boy.
Ooh, that's a must watch right there.
And Abby Friel,
Well, this
host.
video is demonetized.
Hold on.
You know what? Yes, there it is. Queen. There we go.
Oh, God.
Oh,
We need to get you
I
one.
gotta show you guys. We're doing show, and I saw everybody like bringing like their dossiers and their like big quizzes and like all this stuff. Remind me when we're done recording. I have some show and tell to show you guys.
Brian?
Be it Avalosino on Twitter and Instagram, and Apocalypse with Jake.
He sounds thrilled.
Yay!
Right?
I've been doing this for a year. They know where I'm at.
Reefton said it for me, but I'll say it just in case for the audio listeners. Qui-Gon Jake with 2 N's because someone else took it before I did. You can find us here multiple times a week. When matches start happening, we'll start doing reactions. And then, like Jill said, Happy Hour is this Saturday, February 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific. I also want to throw this out there as well. Our Fantasy League on POV is officially happening as well. That'll be coming up very quick now that the draft has happened. And you will see Mr. Janice on there as well, along with Dwayne Burke, Abby Friel, and Mr. Sean Sullivan. And that'll be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our very lengthy talk on everything draft. Thank you to all of our guests who joined us tonight. Mr. Parker, thank you for hanging out for the.
Thank you for having me back on.
Yeah. I will make sure
Next year.
I will make sure to
Robert.
get you on before the year ends.
We'll talk
On-
pretty spectacular.
On
Yeah.
December 31st, we will have you on.
Jake's the one that schedules all the bookings, so you can blame him.
And then to Chris and Frank, thanks you guys for hanging out. Guest.
Thanks for
hosting
having
us.
me.
It was obviously a blast. So we'll definitely have you guys back soon. And yeah, to all the chat, thank you guys so much. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.